Welcome, everybody, to Mom Street USA. My name is Jackie, aka Wishes Mama, and I am joined for this hub episode by our good friends Duck and Jess, aka Beanie Duck. And today's episode is all about spooky season. So it feels a little early, but if you know anything about the theme parks, it's already spooky season. The merch is out. They're gearing up for the parties. So today we are discussing primarily HHN, or Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Magic Kingdom at Disney, with a few other honorable mentions thrown in there. And this is kind of Duck and Jess's specialty, so I'm excited to hear what their opinions are and what they have to share with us today. Duck and Jess, how are we doing?
Great.
Doing great.
I couldn't be happier to talk about all things spooky season. This is our bread and butter.
Yes, so if those of you who don't know, Duck and Jess attend HHN pretty much every single year.
Yep.
And have for how many years?
I think 2019 was the first time that we went.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. 6 or 7 years. So
Yeah.
we've been going every year. And some of those years we have also done Mickey's Not So Scary. We try to, it just depends on the timing and the party availability, but more often than not, we also go, and because we can't get enough of the spooky season, we also go head over to Magic Kingdom to hit up Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah, and you guys typically go really close to like opening weekend of HHN, right? So you're there like right at the beginning, ready to soak in all the spooky vibes to start your Halloween season off.
Yes, it kicks us off at the beginning of September. That's usually when we go.
I love that. I love that. Well, before we jump in today, I do just want to mention and hype up my co-hosts here just momentarily because they also have a very big life event happening this weekend. From when we are recording this, Ducky and Jess are like doing a thing and getting married this weekend.
We sure are.
Which is so exciting, and we are so thrilled. And I'm so sorry I can't be there, but I know it's going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to hear all about it. I'm so excited for you guys.
Oh, thank you. We'll miss you. We're sorry you can't join us, but there will be plenty of pictures.
Yes.
So,
All the pictures.
yes.
Yes, please. I can't wait to see. So big congrats to you guys. All of that aside, again, congrats. Super excited for you. But let's
Thank you.
jump into the spooky stuff.
Yes.
So I think we're gonna start off with Mickey's Not So Scary tonight. Is that where we're headed first?
We got to ramp up slowly, right? We start
Okay.
with fun spooky and then we go
Yes.
spooky. I think that's a fair order.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so what are we starting with? What information do we have?
All right. So, I think we're going to do this for both of them, where we're going to do a lot of the similar format that we've done on some of the other episodes, like the Universal episodes where we kind of did overview and then into pricing and then some more details. So, we'll follow that same structure here. So, for Mickey's Not So Scary, the name may shock you, but it is a not so scary Halloween party.
What?
I cannot believe
Wow.
that it is not terrifying in there, truly. But this is an event that happens in Magic Kingdom. It's a separately ticketed after-hours event, and it is, when you think of a Disney Halloween experience, it's exactly that. It's fun, it's spooky, there's characters in like special Halloween-themed costumes. It's a welcoming, all ages friendly, fun, spooky environment. Just like for some things that they have up around the park that you can experience even if you aren't attending the party, right? We have fall decorations all around. Those very famous Mickey pumpkin wreaths that I think myself and everybody who has ever been on social media is absolutely obsessed with, right?
I love them. And I love that they have started selling them. Like, I think last year was the first year that they started selling like little replica versions. Amazing. I love it.
I'm surprised it took them that long because
Right.
every year, as soon as it turned over to Halloween, photos of specifically the pumpkin wreaths
Right.
would be everywhere. So I'm glad they finally decided to, because we're gonna purchase one this year for sure.
Yes. It's a must. It's a must have.
But also we have some scarecrows and carved pumpkins, especially right as you walk into the entrance. That sort of like I call it the landing area, right around the flagpole and Main Street. That, as with all seasons, gets really dressed up. There's hay bales and fun pumpkins and just cute, fun scenes with some scarecrows and carved pumpkins in there. So it feels very fall as you walk into the Magic Kingdom, even if you aren't able to make the Halloween party.
Yeah, I just wish they did a little bit more with some of the like Main Street is like, yep, it's Halloween, it's fall time, you can definitely tell. But like the further away from Main Street you get, the more you're just like, this just looks like the regular park. So I wish they did a little more widespread
I
across property. But I guess beggars can't be choosers and we'll take what we can get.
I wish what they would do is sort of like themed wreaths in every area, right? Like you don't have to go all out if you don't want to,
Right.
but like how fun would like a Tomorrowland themed wreath be? Or like an Adventureland. If I got a tiki room themed wreath, I would Halloween wreath, I would die. That would be it. But no, I completely agree with you. That sort of like landing area right in the around the flagpole and right down Main Street is very themed. It's very fall, and then it peters out the further out the spokes you go.
Okay, so
Goes.
let's talk about dates for
Yes.
this year. Now, this is 2025 dates. They shift a little
Yes.
year to year depending on the calendar. But what dates do we have for this year?
So for this year, we are starting at August 15th and running through October 31st. Sometimes it's like you said, it shifts a little. So sometimes it's like the first weekend in August, sometimes it's the second weekend. It very much depends, kind of like where calendars fall. But it's usually like early to mid August, and then it will always run through October 31st. No matter where the Halloween holiday actually falls, that will always be the end of spooky season because then magically overnight-ish, it transforms into Christmas.
Couple of nights nowadays, but
Yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah, although I think was it last year it ran until like November 2nd was the last Halloween party, which was so weird, but it just again, it has to do with how the calendars fall and they try to replicate the number of dates that they give because it is a very popular event. So they try to make sure they give enough times and enough days for people to go. But yeah, typically the 31st will be your last day for that.
So the other thing to know about this, because like we said, it is an after hours. And so no matter where in the party you're going, it functions the same, right? No matter what date you pick, you are able to start entering at 4 p.m. into the Magic Kingdom. And then the party officially starts at 7 p.m. So you have, if you're not big on wanting to show up early or get those extra couple of hours in, that's okay. Just make sure that you show up before the 7 o'clock official start time of the party itself. Although if you do have the opportunity, taking advantage of the extra hours is absolutely a recommendation of ours. We have done it pretty much every year that we've gone because there tends to be lower attendance in Magic Kingdom on party days simply because it closes earlier. So people don't usually prioritize using their park tickets on MK. So especially by towards the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of people starting to filter out. So it's a great opportunity to hit some of those more popular rides. Especially maybe it might be a good idea to prioritize the ones that aren't open during the party, which we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the attractions during the party itself.
Yeah, and I think something to realize is exactly what Duck just said. The day of even the party nights, those tend to be very, very much lower attendance at Magic Kingdom. On the flip side of that, if you are visiting during Not So Scary, it's kind of a catch-22 because the days that there are no parties, Magic Kingdom is gonna be slammed. It's gonna be so busy. There's gonna be tons of people there. So if you know you're not gonna make it until fireworks or you plan on an early night anyway, or you've got a park hopper, maybe Magic Kingdom on a party day is not a bad idea because those crowds are lower. You're going to be able to fly through rides super quickly in the morning, especially if you're someone who can get up and get to like early entry or even just get there at rope drop. You're going to be able to take advantage of that pretty easily. So, a little bit of planning tips there. You kind of got to figure out what makes the most sense for your group with the time because Magic Kingdom will close I believe it's 6 p.m. typically for the like day guests, quote unquote. And they will start to usher you out.
yeah.
So
To say usually at 5 they'll start to make announcements, check for wristbands.
Yeah.
5:30 is usually like towards the back of the park. They'll start not like shutting you out, but they'll start saying, okay, maybe this is your last ride on Seven
Right.
Dwarves. You got to start making your way to the front.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Do keep in mind that if you are someone who's planning to arrive for that 4 p.m. early ticket entry time, there can be very long lines out front of Magic Kingdom because they will shuffle everybody for the party over to as you're looking at the tap styles, the right-hand side, typically closest to like the buses, is where they will typically shuttle all of the party entry people, because regular day guests can still come into Magic Kingdom on the left and center sides. That line can get very, very long. It moves very quickly because it's a fairly simple process to tap in and get your wristband. But don't expect to just waltz in right at 4 o'clock. If you really want to get in right at 4, I do suggest getting to Magic Kingdom by like 3-ish, to make sure that you can get in line. Find something to do to entertain yourself. Lines are not a novel thing at Disney World. But I would get there early so that way you can get into the park quickly if that is your only entry to the park for that day. Do also keep in mind that if you are already in the park prior to the party starting and you are attending the party, there are locations inside of the park that you can go to receive that party wristband. So you don't have to exit the park, get in that really long line to get back in. That's really silly. So don't do that.
Yeah, please don't.
No, please don't do that. Also, that being said, if you are someone who has a park hopper or is an annual pass holder or has a valid ticket that can get you into Magic Kingdom for that day, don't wait in the party line. Go through the regular tap style and then go to one of the inside park locations. Previously, they have been at Tortuga Tavern, the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, and the PhilharMagic. I'm guessing they'll be the same. I think those have been the locations for several years running. But again, some of this information, and you'll hear us mention this again later, we don't have the exact specifics because Disney is not really great at releasing it early. We will find out literally on the 15th on the first day. So those of you listening to us live, that's still, a little ways away. If you're listening to us on our replay, that was earlier this week. So you probably know by now what that looks like. But do keep that in mind. Again, if you've got valid entry to Magic Kingdom that day, do not wait in that party line. Go through the other regular tap styles and go to the one of the in-park places. It's going to save you a whole lot of time.
We can attest to that. We have done it both ways, and it is much easier here
in the park.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I mean, surely by volume, right? Because like we said, a lot of people are just doing Magic Kingdom. Their Magic Kingdom Day is the party.
Mm-hmm.
So by volume, more people are getting the wristband right at the front gate. So if you can finagle your way in there to get your wristband at one of those locations, it's definitely worth it.
Yes, and I don't know exactly how early they start those wristbands, but my guess would be it's somewhere between 3 and 4. They will start handing out those wristbands at those locations.
Yeah, and it gets around there because we did it for the Christmas party one year, and I think it was around that time that we started seeing them like setting up, and we were able to just walk up, show them our ticket, get the wristband, and then we were good to go.
Yeah, I actually think it might have even been earlier because the Christmas party is also very popular. And I think the day that we were going, it was like one of the sold out days, or if not, it was sold out, it was very close to it. So they might have even started it like 2:45. Like it was very early to try to help filter some of that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So again, there's our tip for you for getting in. Let's talk about prices.
Oh, money. the bane of everyone's existence.
Oh, yeah.
So, prices do start at $119 and they go all the way up to $229. Of course, I know. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's ghastly.
Every year they raise it, and it's like they only raise it by $10 or $20 every year, but then it's like you look back and you go, I remember when all of the days used to be like under 100.
Yeah, and I remember complaining because it was like 89 one year, and I'm like, wow, that was me 5 years ago was so foolish.
We couldn't have known. The world is such a different place now. It's okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
But yes, so as far as I know, right? I felt that sigh so deeply. But the closer that you get to Halloween, of course, the prices go up, with the most expensive night being Halloween itself, and kind of understandable, right? That is going to be the prime party time. I actually think Halloween sells out first thing every
Halloween's
year.
already sold out.
Yeah, it sells out like almost immediately. Understandable that the Halloween party on Halloween is going to be the hot ticket item.
Yeah.
Right. Usually day one will sell out pretty quickly and Halloween will sell out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is random other dates will just sell out like for no rhyme or reason. So like, unfortunately, you really can't wait to buy these tickets.
No.
Like if you're thinking about it and you're like, yeah, I think I'm probably going to go, buy your ticket.
I will say, don't rely on this method, but if you are there day of and you don't have plan, right? Like your heart is not set on going to it. You just want to maybe try. Sometimes you can walk up to will call and there is a very, very limited number of tickets available.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll get lucky where like there was cancellations or they had to swap somebody's ticket date because they bought the wrong thing. And occasionally you will get lucky. We've seen it happen at almost every party where somebody has been able to get in. Now, of course, there's not a lot. So this is like a total gamble. Don't have your heart set on this if this is your method. But should you be around and you're like, let me just go check, you might get lucky.
Yeah, and you can usually check at if the ticket booths are open at the TTC, you can check. So like if you are driving or monorailing or whatever and you end up at the TTC first, you can usually check there if those ticket booths are open, and not have to go all the way over to Magic Kingdom if you want to check before you make the trek all the way across the lagoon.
I mean, but it's fun to just ride the monorail around all day. So either way, you get a fun ride.
You know, yes, the ferry's better, but I'll take the monorail.
That's valid. It is a beautiful view.
Yes, that's the way that I'll enjoy getting from the TTC to Magic Kingdom. So
This may shock
I'm a
you.
fan of the ferry.
I just like trains. It's perhaps the least shocking thing I've ever said to anybody. I just really dig trains.
I don't mind the monorail in the morning. The later in the day you get, the stinkier it gets,
That's
and the
fair.
more that I'm like, I think I'll pass.
So that's a fair assessment because we generally will only do monorail in the morning. That is actually a completely fair assessment of that situation. It gets feedier the longer you go. Totally fair.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. Anyway, enough talk about the feety and the monorail.
Moving off of the
Moving right along.
moving right along. So don't you dare bring the Muppets into this feet conversation. Okay. So now we're going to dive a little bit into some of the highlights, a little bit of the layout of the party. What can you expect when you are actually at this event? So it may shock you that the Halloween party has trick-or-treating stations.
What?
I can't believe it. I know a Halloween event has Halloween-themed things, but there are, of course, this is like the big draw. I mean, not to say this is why people go, but this is such a hot topic, a draw for sure.
Every year I see those photos of kids' candy halls that just cover entire queen-size hotels.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yep. So, as far as trick-or-treating goes, what's nice about Mickey's Not So Scary is that you can trick-or-treat in costume. You can dress up for this event. Now, of course, common sense costume rules do apply, right? So, no masks, no ball gowns, nothing violent or gory or creepy, right? This is not so scary Halloween party. So most people are pretty good at the common sense, but just as a general disclaimer, you can dress up, but use your Mickey judgment, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes, and most people do some sort of dressed up, even if it's just like a themed t-shirt or, themed ears with a t-shirt. Some people go all out. So
That's how people do.
I
People look like full spandex, like body suits,
Right.
walking around in like 90-degree weather.
I was
Totally me.
Last year we did we'll usually do Disney bounding, which if anybody doesn't know, that's like a sort of like an everyday outfit that is inspired by a Disney character. So it's sort of a costume without it being a costume, right? That's a way that a lot of people who want to dress up at Disney are able to, I don't want to say get around the rules, but honor the rules at Disney while still being able to portray their favorite characters. So last year we did Prince Eric and Ariel, and I was in a short sleeve white shirt and black shorts, and so many people walking around in full body suits and like these gorgeous, well put together costumes, and I'm like, I am having a heat stroke in shorts and a t-shirt. What is going on?
All right. If you can do it, more power to you. But that's why we just Disney bound. We don't like dress up because a costume is just too much for us in the parks.
Yeah. We went in 2022. That was the last time that I've done Not So Scary. And we did a whole family costume with we did like like superheroes, like Avengers. And I felt so bad because my kids were in like the spandex, the kid like Spidey suits. And I was like, so we ended up, instead of having them wear their costumes to the park, we had them wear shorts and a t-shirt, and we changed like after the sun went down.
Yeah,
Like, it is
I mean,
so
that's
hot
to do it.
Yeah, it is so hot. And I did have a good question in our chat while we're talking about costumes that Vinny was asking what time you can start wearing costumes if you're there for the day. Typically that 4 o'clock time is going to be when they say that you're good to go. If you change a little before then, you probably won't have any cast members that are like, you can't do that yet. But usually around that 4 o'clock time. So if you're someone that's in Magic Kingdom like all day long, let's say, maybe you stash your stuff in a locker. About 4 o'clock, go and swap out and get yourself changed and ready to go. So definitely don't wear it at 9 a.m. because they will not.
Nope.
No, they will not let you in at 9 a.m.
And also, you may have heat stroke.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So prepare yourself. Think about what you want to wear. A t-shirt and some shorts in some way, shape, or form. A dress, if you're someone who enjoys wearing dresses, may be a good idea. Lately, in the last like year or two, I see a lot of girls dressing up like the really popular like Halara, like tennis style dresses and stuff, and making those more like kind of like Disney bounding plus almost, those types of things. So just be smart about what you're going to wear. Let's talk about trick-or-treating because that's super fun. So with your trick-or-treating, you will start off when you walk in for the party. They will actually take you into like a backstage little walkway behind as you're looking like the right side of Main Street. They will park the double-decker bus there, and it'll have a big sign that says like, not so scary Halloween party this way. They will give you these cutesy little bags for trick-or-treating, and they will give you your first treat. Yeah. We'll get there. They will give you your first treat. So that is where you will start. But then after that, there are typically 8 treat locations that will be marked across the park. You'll find them in your party specific map. But then you'll also see they have big, large inflatables that are outside of each location.
Also glow
marking those.
As it gets dark, you can see them. Yes.
Which honestly, it's really helpful because if you're just like wandering through the park, you're like, oh, hey, there's a treat location. That's how we usually trick or treat when we go. So there's that. The bags they give you, and I should have grabbed mine from when we went, but they are. I don't think we have one. They are not even a foot tall. So I'd say they're maybe 11 inches by about 6 inches wide. They're small. Very, very small. The year that we went, my kids' bags were full to the top in 2 stops because the cast members will grab a giant handful and give it to you.
Yeah. Especially the kiddos. They'll just shovel it in there.
Yes. So bring bags to empty into if you are someone who wants a lot of candy. Our thing was once all 4 of our bags were full, we were done because we did not need any more than that. We were good to go. But if you're someone that wants the big candy haul, wants to be able to take all that home, bring some grocery bags or Ziploc bags to empty into. So that way you have the ability to do that. I also highly suggest these bags get very, very heavy. If you have a stroller, get one of those giant carabiners and hook it on the handle of your stroller and then hook all of your bags onto the carabiner.
That is so smart.
Clever.
Yes. I found that out after I went on my trip in 2022, and I was like, that would have been a game changer. So I highly suggest some sort of a hook situation to be able to do that. But you will literally get so much candy. We got so much candy that year just in our 4 bags that we turned around and gave out some of that candy at our trick-or-treat at home.
I was gonna say there are people, I see it every year in like the Facebook groups and things like that, that literally will go to the Halloween party and get bags and bags and bags full. They'll fill like a whole backpack and then they just take that home, and then that is the candy that they give out for Halloween. So
they just paid the price of the party ticket to buy their Halloween candy.
Which is an affordable option.
Right? Halloween candy's expensive, man. But
Honestly,
they do.
dude, it is so sad.
Yeah. But they do have like name brand candies. You know what I mean? It's all the typical stuff that you're gonna see in.
It's all the Mars branded stuff. So like think M&M's,
Snickers.
Butterfingers, Snickers, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Is what they give out.
They had a ton of Starbursts the year that we were there too. So I don't know if that's normal or not, but I feel like we got so many Starbursts.
So we've
Gift
done
cards.
it.
We got mostly chocolate last year.
Yeah. So, and also I'm gonna say I have noticed, like, not compared to like when we first started necessarily, but like they kind of used to have it where like not that each station had different types of candy, but like one station might be more heavy on the Starburst, one station might be more heavy on the chocolate or the Butterfinger,
Right.
whatever it was. Everything is just like mixed into a barrel
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like the last few times that we've gone, it's all just you're gonna get a whole clump of miscellaneous candy.
Yes. Yes. Now, those of you that may be going that are like, well, I have allergy concerns. I can't do peanuts. I can't do whatever other things are in candy that you dairy, those types of things. They do have allergy friendly options. So, a couple things to note if that is you. When you go through that backstage entry, when you first get into the park, you need to let the cast member know that you would like an allergy friendly bag. It is a teal version of the bag. So that has become kind of a universal sign for allergy-friendly options over the last several years with trick-or-treating, like the teal pumpkins or teal buckets, things like that. But they will give you a teal bag. Now, you will still be able to trick or treat, but instead of getting your candy actually at the trick or treat stations, they will give you a little token and you will put that in your bag and hang on to it. Because later in the night or at any time of the night, I suggest just waiting and doing them all at the same time. But at any point in the night, you can trade that in for allergy friendly treats. So there are 2 centers that you can trade in your tokens for those allergy friendly treats. The Liberty Square ticket office, which is next to the Hall of Presidents, is one, and it is open until midnight, which is the end of the party. But, if you're at the last stage show or you're in the line,
Mhm.
you're going to be in the park.
filtering out.
Yes, exactly. But so that one's open until midnight. And then the other one is the Chamber of Commerce on Main Street. And that one is open till 12:30. So you want to make sure that if you have allergy friendly things that you are making time to get to one of those locations before they close, and you will trade in your tokens and they will hook you up with allergy friendly options. They also have non-food options as well. So if you're someone that's like, I got a bunch of allergies, I can't do any of this, they will take care of you. They will make sure that you have some goodies to go home with. You guys know we've talked about it on Mom Street before. Disney is really great with allergies, so they will definitely hook you up and make sure that you are taken care of when it comes to all of that. And one more quick note before we get off of the trick-or-treating, just a friendly reminder that I mentioned earlier that candy is heavy. If you are flying to Mickey's Not So Scary and you're planning to fly home from Mickey's Not So Scary without having to pay for extra baggage fees, just keep that in mind. You may want to figure out a way to rearrange because the weight of candy is way more than you think it's gonna be.
It's shocking.
Yeah, it's not a space issue with this.
no,
It is literally a weight issue.
They're dense. It's a density problem.
Yes, so keep that in mind when if you're someone that maxes out the weight of your checked luggage, make sure you oh, that would be Jess.
my
What?
snap.
Shocker. Um be aware of that. Plan to have some room for it in your carry-on if you're able to. If you've got a backpack and your backpack's full of candy, that's your carry-on to go home with.
That would be. You got snacks at the ready.
I know.
Can't
Yep.
complain.
You won't go
That's
hungry.
perfect.
Yep.
It'll be perfect. Yes. So just plan accordingly for any snacks that you may want to bring home with you.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to take it home with you, just don't get it in the parks. You don't
Right.
have to go trick or treating.
No.
Or you could just get your, one
you'll
small bag and what you'll eat in maybe you're at the beginning of your trip and you'll just eat it on your way, on all throughout your trip and be done with it by the time you're done.
Yeah.
I don't suggest doing that if you have bags and bags and bags of candy. So just again, plan accordingly. And yeah, KDO's right. An airport Twix is like $5. So,
Yeah, you are saving.
keep a
yourself
little
some
stash for your
serious
airport
cash.
snacks for sure. But just again, plan accordingly. Okay. I think that's all we have to say. Again, we're not giving every single detail about every single thing with these events, or we would literally be here all night, and we're already going to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, we
forever.
already have quite a cover.
Let's keep going. What kind of other food options can we find at Mickey's Not So Scary?
Yes. So, of course, in addition to the free candy trick-or-treating, there are a variety of exclusive snacks and treats that you can purchase at the event. So these can be purchased throughout the park at, I would say all your favorite, but I'll say most of your favorite food locations because there are some places that are closed. But each year there are, returning favorites and then also new treats that they add to the menu each year. So some treats that are returning this year for Mickey's Not So Scary include the Madame Leota Seance candle. So this is a red velvet cake and cookies and cream mousse. So it's like cake pop kind
It's
of
like the
things.
push pop looking
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And then the Mickey shaped cheesecake is a favorite. So this is a pumpkin cheesecake with graham cracker crust and white chocolate whipped ganache. And then for a savory option, there is a beef short rib with purple potatoes. So this is braised with red wine, figs, peppers, and a touch of dark chocolate. So there are both sweet and savory options if you're somebody who's not into all the desserts, but like a good, lunch or dinner item. They have that too.
Now, they've done a lot better in the last 2 years, I'd say, at giving us more equal savory and sweet. It always used to be that Disney World got all of the sweet and Disneyland got all of the savory.
Yep.
But they've done a lot better of a job kind of balancing that out in the recent years. So it's nice to see several savory options on the exclusive list as well.
And they are pretty good, right? Like, I mean, like, not to, for you have to remember what you're getting, right? This is
theme park
this
food,
this
right?
is theme park food. You're right. It is, like a special event food, so it is maybe a little fresher or a little different, right? But we've had some of these savory items, and they are pretty good. Again, pleasant surprise for like a theme park party food. Pretty good.
And it's nice to break up the sweet because
Yes.
a lot of these treats are very sweet, so you can't try like 10 of them in a night, but
Not with that attitude.
a couple sweets, a couple savory things, and kind of split it all up a little. But
Right.
so some of the new menu items for this year are a candy corn verrine, which is layers of salted caramel ganache, marshmallow panna cotta, whipped cream topped with caramel corn and candy corn.
My God, speaking of violently sweet things.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I mean. Like that is so many of the
Yeah.
snacks. So like you can't just sit there and eat those all night long. Yeah. And then there is a magic potion slushie, which is Fanta blue raspberry slush with yuzu. So it changes color from blue to green when you stir it, which is
Cool.
super cool.
I'm really into
like
that.
that.
And I also love yuzu, like it just is
It
a
is super
flavor.
flavory.
So like that's just like like a fun magic trick and yuzu. I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I don't know that I've ever kind of like a lemony, like a citrusy kind of flavor.
Yeah,
I
it's
was like, I don't think I've ever had it before.
Yeah.
so it is used. It's like a Japanese lemon. So it's used in like it's like you still get the lemony punch, but it's less tart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's used in a lot of like specifically Japanese dishes is where I see it. Like a lot of Japanese sodas and things like that have yuzu flavoring, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for more information about these menus, again, Disney doesn't put them out much ahead of time.
And they 2 days to prep.
Right.
And they never include prices.
Nope.
But Disney Parks blog has it, and then Disney Food blog is another really great one that you can find. And even if you look at last year's and you can kind of compare and contrast, a lot of this stuff is the same from last year, or it's like very similar with one difference from last year to this year. So you can kind of find that kind of stuff online if you're looking. Again, we won't get full reviews of all of that until after the 15th, which is your first party date. So if you're listening in the future, apologies, we don't have that when we're recording. So you'll have to go online and do a quick Google search to find what you're looking for. The other thing to note, and I have found this, and we got caught with this in 2022. So just take my mistake and learn from it. If you want to eat and are planning to mobile ordering is available, but mobile ordering for the park, for the party specific food does not start until 7 p.m. So the mobile order will say completely unavailable until 7 p.m. So keep that in mind. A lot of the restaurants also will close between 6 and 7 because they will be prepping the kitchen and everything for the turnover. So keep that in mind. Definitely if you're looking to do dinner in the parks, plan accordingly. If you're not looking to do any of the party food, grab your dinner by like 5:30 at the latest. If you're looking to do party food, be ready to mobile order right at 7 when it opens, because it will get very, very busy with everybody else also wanting to try all of that. So just plan a little ahead. We got caught right at the end of where mobile order was not available. Like, because we were just like, it was like 5:30 and we were looking for food, and I was like, why is it saying it's not available? I don't understand why it's not available. And I was like, oh, I'm silly.
Whoops.
Yeah. So we were able to go in somewhere and order up until 6 o'clock, even if the mobile order was not available. So again, just plan accordingly, look at what you're going to eat, figure out mobile order timing and all that kind of stuff. So again, just like I said, learn from my mistake when it comes to mobile ordering and party food.
And that's why we're vaguely park experts, because we've done everything
Vaguely.
that you can do. And therefore, we can tell you what to do, because we did what you shouldn't do.
That's so true. That's so much of my advice is like, hey, I did this wrong. You should do it better. Here's my advice.
So here's how to do it. Ask me how I know.
Yep. Anyway, okay, so that's your little snippet about food. Let's talk about the shows, because this is why we go to the parties, is the exclusive shows, and then we'll get to characters and some of the other fun stuff here in a moment.
Yada yada.
All that, all that other stuff. But let's talk about the shows. So the star of the show for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is the Boo to You parade. It is absolutely one of the most loved Disney parades for a very good reason. It's got tons of really fun characters, tons of like villains. If you're into villains, it's got all the villains. It's got lots of kind of obscure characters too, which is super fun. It's got the catchiest song. I'm not going to sing it. We're not going to earworm everybody.
It's in my head
all the time. Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. My kids will walk around singing it this time of year and just like out of nowhere. I'm like, cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Nailed it. Now I'm doomed for the next week.
Yep. Yes, they have some super impressive floats. All of your favorite Disney characters. A lot of them are dressed up in Halloween costumes, which is super fun. So like you'll get Mickey and Minnie and Donald, Daisy, Goofy, but they're all in their Halloween outfits for the season. If you want to, there are two things that happen right before the parade. And the parade is typically twice in the evening. The times can vary, but in previous years, I believe it's been a 9 and an 11 with the fireworks in between, which we'll talk about the fireworks momentarily. But two things that do happen before the parade starts. The first one is the Headless Horseman from the Sleepy Hollow story does ride the parade route. So the parade route is the same as Festival of Fantasy. Don't get confused with the new Starlight Night Parade that goes backwards. This one does go forward. So it starts by Tiana's Bayou Adventure and ends by the train station down Main Street. So let me just clarify that. With the new nighttime parade, it gets a little confusing. Also, side note, the Starlight Parade is not being performed on Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party evenings. So that's going to be another reason. We talked earlier about Magic Kingdom being slammed on your non-party days. That is another huge reason this year in 2025 why it's going to be even busier as people want to see that new parade, which you should, because it's amazing. Anyway, the Headless Horseman, about a half hour to 20 minutes before the parade starts, he goes trotting down. And it's one of the coolest things that happens in the parks, like, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere and there's no real like music. You know, you're in the parade route. Normally, like the music starts and then you know that the parade is coming. Nope. They clear they cleared the parade path, the walkway. And it's so cool. It's just so cool. And the horse is beautiful, and it's so like
physically imposing, because it's like a truly large human on a truly large horse. It's just so incongruous with being in Magic Kingdom and a theme park to see something quite like that, you know? So I completely agree that it is, Boo to You is one of our favorite things that Disney does, period. But like the Headless Horseman is one of the coolest parts. It's so good.
So cool. So again, if you want to see that, if that's something that you're like, yep, got to see that, be sure you arrive early so you don't miss it, because it is very easy to miss if you are not paying attention to time. The other thing that will happen before, and this one is a little bit more specific, if you want to catch the Max as Powerline dance party extravaganza where all the dancers and Max teach everybody the eye to eye dance and they go and do it in the streets. So fun, super cute. It only happens on Main Street. So it does not happen even into the hub or anywhere on the whole other side. So if you want to see that, participate in that, whatever with that, you have to stand. That's your thing. You have to stand at the farthest down would be like Casey's Corner or the Plaza Ice Cream Shop. You cannot go past that or you will totally miss it. And even if you're on that far end, you're still not going to be set up for success, because they do it like, I don't know, maybe 5 times down the row. So it doesn't necessarily, it's not like a parade where they're going to walk from there down dancing the whole time. They like stop and dance in different little segments. So if that's important to you, do some research about where they stopped previously. There are blogs all over the internet that will tell you where to go. But it's super fun because there are some really great cast members that'll like bring the kiddos in and teach them the dance, and then they do it all together. Super, super fun. Great time. So, but be sure that you are in the correct location to be able to participate if that's something that you want to do. One of the places that I like to watch is actually like at the very end of the parade route. So either standing right in front of the train station or standing like on the corner in front of the bathrooms between like Town Hall and the firehouse. As it comes around the corner. That is a really fun place to watch because you can watch the parade come around the hub towards you, which I really like. So those are my 2 places that I like to stand in that vicinity. If you want to do Powerline and see the Headless Horseman, those are the 2 places that I would look to stand. Again, we cannot say enough good things about the parade. We have to stop talking about the parade because we have to continue talking about everything else.
We get on. We're amazing shows.
3 of 8 of notes. We have to keep going.
To keep pushing along.
So yes, let's continue on. What other shows can we look forward to? Because they're all fabulous at Not So Scary.
They are. So the next show that we are going to talk about is the Hocus Pocus Villains Spelltacular. This is another one of, I mean, everything at the Halloween party is like our favorite things in Magic Kingdom ever. But I have a deep attachment to the Sanderson sisters. I don't know if you can see it up above us, but we have the Lego Sanderson sisters house. I love it. I love everything Hocus Pocus so much. So this holds a special place in my heart in particular. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I don't know. I couldn't contain myself. You're good. So this features the Sanderson sisters and some help from your favorite Disney villains. So Oogie Boogie, Ursula, Hades. I think all your classic, like most beloved Disney villains are part of this show. So there are typically 3 showings of this per night. Last year's show times for August 9th through September 28th, there was a 9:05 show, a 10:35 show, and then a midnight showing, so right at the end of the event. And then from September 29th through Halloween, there was a 7:35 showing, a 9:05 showing, a 10:35 showing, and a 12 a.m. showing. So they added an extra show, kind of getting closer to Halloween. That's the thing I like about the show is they show it multiple times a night, so it is easy, like if you want to see it, to kind of work it into your night. And some of them are less crowded than others, so it's just kind of like all about planning and when is it a priority for you to kind of go see the show.
I think as a general rule for these parties, the later you can hang and the later your kiddos can hang, right? Don't push your kiddos into meltdown. Don't push yourself into meltdown. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be having a freak out at Magic Kingdom. But the later that you can hang, the better off you're going to be. Because, of course, for different circumstances, people drop out of the party early, or they may get on rides later in the night that they sort of neglected early on to do trick-or-treating or shows or fireworks. So the later, the last shows that you can see are usually the best. You will be able to get better spots, better views, and it's fully dark by then, which really changes the experience into like a more Halloween appropriate vibe, and you get a lot more of the effects and things like that.
Yeah, and I will say with this show, when my kids saw it, they had not seen Hocus Pocus yet, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes, they've seen it now, but at that age, that's
fine.
That was
I guess
3 years ago.
I was gonna say, I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
They were quite a bit younger, and there are some things in that movie that are like the whole like virgin having to light the candle. How do you explain that to
Yavos?
yeah. Yeah. So,
Still
there's
over
some
their
things.
heads, but yeah.
There's some things. But they hadn't seen it, but they still loved that show. So if you're like hesitant because you're like, Hocus Pocus, well, you don't like that's not our thing, still go to it. Is fabulous. You are not going to want to miss it.
Yeah. You don't need to know the story of Hocus Pocus. It's just the Sanderson sisters are like hosting this gathering of like Disney villains, basically. It's what it turned into. So yeah, it's really not dependent on the knowledge of that. So then we get the fireworks show for Mickey's Not So Scary is the Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular. I have a lot of not so spooky and whatever in the names. It gets good.
They lean into it.
They really lean into it. But this is hosted by Jack Skellington. So he narrates the party's fireworks show. So the story that it kind of tells is Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy exploring a haunted house. And they encounter Disney villains and dancing skeletons and so much more. So there are projections up on the castle, just like with any fireworks show. And then, of course, some of your favorite Disney music, and just it's really beautiful. The projections are gorgeous, especially they do like some haunted mansion things. So if you're a fan of that, like we are, it's amazing. So everything about it, and the Jack like animatronic that they get up there, the puppet thing is like, I don't know, I'm obsessed with it.
He's like 10 feet tall.
It's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
It's like actual life-size Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
Like that's what I picture him to look like and move like through space. It's the very first time that we saw it, we were really close for the fireworks, and it was genuinely shocking.
Yeah.
I actually just thought it was Jack there. Like it was really, really impressive.
Yeah, this is one I highly suggest being close for.
Yes.
Like the fireworks are a thing, yes, but this one is so much more with the castle projections and with the puppet on the stage. Like it really pays off to be nice and close so that you can see.
Yeah.
So previously the fireworks were, sorry, I'm going to step on you for a second here, where it was 10 o'clock. So what a lot of people will do is they will follow the as soon as the 9 p.m. parade comes through, they will follow it to the hub to get their spot. Now, the only downfall, again, this is what I've learned through all of this, is if you are someone standing where I told you to stand, it's going to be really hard for you to get close for fireworks. So again, maybe you do the second parade and stand where I told you to stand. So that way for the first parade, you can already stake out your spot to get up close for the fireworks if that's your thing. So again, it does take a little bit of planning going into it to kind of coordinate all the times between the show times, the fireworks, the parade, to make sure you kind of align everything in a way that makes sense for you. A couple other things that they have going on throughout the parks that are worth noting. They have some dance parties and some other entertainment, including the Disney Junior Jam at Cosmic Rays. So they have they give Sunny Eclipse the night off, and they have a DJ in there along with the Disney Junior friends. So it's the same friends that you found previously in the Hollywood Studios version of the Disney Junior Dance Party. So it's Doc McStuffins, Vampirina, Roadster Racer Mickey, and Timon from Lion King. So those will be your friends that they come out and like they dance with the kiddos. That
One
are
of
in
those
there.
things is not like the other.
I don't ask questions. Disney desperately needs to redo their Disney Junior characters. I will not get on my soapbox about that right now, but it is so desperately needed. Let me reel it back in. So yes, Disney Junior Jam at Cosmic Rays is a super fun little dance party. You can pop in, pop out. There's no set show times for that. It's just kind of an all-night thing. This year for the Tomorrowland stage, they kind of rotate through this one depending on what movies are popular. Last year it was a Descendants themed one because Rise of Red had just come out. This year it is the Zombeats Bash. celebrating the new Disney Channel original movie Zombies 4. So it's going to be zombies themed if you're familiar with that DCOM franchise. You can also catch the Cadaver Dans if you are familiar with the Dapper Dans. This is a spookified version of the Dapper Dans. And they perform in Frontierland by the Frontier Trading Post. And they are typically up on the like catwalk area. So you can kind of stand below and listen to them. They will be like mic'd and amplified, which is kind of nice. So you'll be able to hear them as you're walking by. And then they also have a DJ ringmaster that's going to be back in the Storybook Circus area. So if you've heard about Cool Kids Summer, they've been doing a bunch of stuff back in that big top area for that. So they are utilizing that space as well for this new DJ ringmaster this year, which is new for the party this year. So tons of other fun things to do if you're looking for those experiences. It's a lot to fit in one night, so you really need to prioritize because we haven't even talked about characters, which we're going to talk about next, and that is another huge draw. So you really kind of have to pick and choose and see. Some of these we tend to like do a drive-by and kind of
Like, oh, look,
experience
that's
it.
the costume. Bye.
Like, yeah, like purposefully walk through the Tomorrowland area or purposely walk through Frontierland to catch it. But
Yeah.
it can be hard to spend a lot of time at any of these. So you really have to kind of pick and choose to make sure you don't miss something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Well-
Shall we talk about characters?
I was going to say, on that note, speaking of things that are extremely popular,
Yes.
character meet and greets.
Yes.
So this is, I'd say, like at any after hours party, the characters tend to be one of the biggest draws.
Yeah.
And that is especially true at the Halloween party because there are often like rare villains that are out to be able to be met or even just see, right? Like it's pretty normal to have these villains. I don't want to say they're roaming, but like in certain places, they will appear regularly. For example, Cruella will appear sometimes on that double-decker bus that you see on the way in. Very often, excuse me, throughout the night, you'll get Maleficent and the Evil Queen or somebody else up on top of the train station, especially later in the night, sort of bidding people farewell.
Last year they were in the queue at Princess Fairy Tale Hall for the first time, which was so fun.
Yes. Yes. So that they don't so there are certain things that are announced ahead of time, right? For the most part, we kind of know the characters that will be there, but Disney does like to surprise you with where and when you may end up seeing a character that's out and about in a place that they aren't normally. They do like to mix it up, and they do like to have experiences like that where maybe you can't directly meet somebody, but you will see that character. You will get to experience some sort of interaction that sort of adds to the whole atmosphere of the Halloween party itself. The biggest draw, however, is Jack and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. These lines, both at the Christmas party and the Halloween party, are always the longest character meet and greet lines I have ever seen.
For good reason. They're an incredible meet and greet. If you've ever gotten the chance, like they're just so good. They're so much fun. If you like really know the world of Nightmare Before Christmas too, it just like makes it even better because you can just have all of these like amazing conversations with them. And like we did it a couple years ago at the Christmas party because it was like the tail end of the night. It wasn't a super long line, and I do not regret staying the extra like however long it took us to meet them because it was really like it made my day.
Yeah. First thing, that's the best thing to get in line for. If you're like, that's my priority, you better get in line at 4 p.m.
Absolutely.
at Town Hall.
Yeah.
And be careful at the end of the night. It is normally a good time, but they will cut the line off.
Yes.
So do not plan to go at 11:59 and get in line because they will cut the line. So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
And then did you see the new Jack costume?
It
this
looks so
year?
good.
It looks so good.
so good.
So good. Like
This-
the old one was great for what it was.
Yeah.
But now seeing the new one, it's like, we could have had that all along, man.
This is a long needed redesign, and it has been a topic of conversation for years and years that like that costume was serviceable when they started doing the Jack and Sally meet and greets. But it is long, especially seeing some of the other costumes that they have had in the intervening years. It was then time to update it to more modern costuming, I'll put it. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic costume, and they put the top tier attendants that are involved in there. So you are getting a meaningful interaction with Jack and Sally, right? They don't just rush you through. You get a good few minutes. It's fun. It's worth it. It is one of the few meet and greets. Like, we're not big character people, but I would totally do it again. Everybody was fantastic. But if Jack and Sally's line is maybe a touch too long for you, there are also tons of other characters. Like we said, some of them are sort of, again, not free roaming, but you will be able to see them and interact throughout the night. But there are also some set ones that are available throughout the park, right? There's many of them. Of course, that's one of the big draws of this party. Disney knows it. They are here to, have folks get what they want out of these experiences. So there's plenty of meet and greets throughout the park. So some of the villains are you'll regularly will meet are Maleficent, Evil Queen from Snow White, Lady Tremaine, which is fun because Lady Tremaine, Anastasia, and Drizella can all meet together. Or sometimes, where was it? It was right by Friar's Nook.
Yeah.
That little gated off
outside,
area.
Like the PhilharMagic, like kind of area.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know if it's like an overflow queue of where the princesses normally meet or what it was, but it was like
Okay.
all three of them just putting on a little show for everybody. Anastasia and Drizella were like poking fun at everybody, and then Lady Tremaine came out to get them in line, and it was really like just such a fun,
It was
special,
really funny.
like atmospheric moment that
Yeah.
again, like really unique to these parties. But we don't just have villains, as much as I love villains, and that's the focus. There are also some classic characters. So I don't know if we mentioned it, but Mickey and Minnie are meeting in their special Halloween gear, which for the first time ever this year, they are meeting together in their Halloween gear.
That's exciting.
Yes, so you can get both of them at once, which is a huge win for character collectors. Is that the term? I don't know.
Sure.
We'll go with it. There's also Elvis Stitch, which was a life-changing meet and greet for me.
He's so much fun. So much fun.
It's such a good meet and greet. So we have him, and then of course there's some miscellaneous princesses. There's Jasmine, there's Jeannie, who's also a princess in my heart.
Well, and I will say the thing about the parties, and this is true for Christmas as well, is you get a lot of those pairs meeting together. So you'll get princes meeting with some of the princesses, which is super fun. So you get more bang for your buck when you're waiting in those lines, which is really nice. And some of these characters don't come out except for the parties, right? So again, it's the exclusivity of the characters. And again, we don't find out exactly who is where until the very first night of the party. But we can pretty much guess again that a lot of the ones that we've talked about and have seen previously, if there are any new ones, Disney always announces that, that you'll get to hear, but we just kind of have to sit and wait and assume that it'll be what it was last year.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so is there anything else on character meet and greets, or should we just keep on trucking into attractions?
I think we're good to keep on going.
Cool. All right. So, we alluded to earlier that not everything is open during the party. Most things are, right? When you think of like the big attractions, the common ones that most people are going to ride, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Haunted Mansion, Tiana's. Those big ones are open during the party.
Haunted Mansion features some fun surprises in the queue.
Oh, yes.
They're not there all year round too.
Good call. Yes.
100% like can't miss if you're a Haunted Mansion fan.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're not, like, it's a very
it's so
fun. It's an incredibly fun moment. Just go take a swing by the queue if you're not feeling maybe a Haunted Mansion ride that day, which I can't relate to, but I understand that not everybody wants to. It is a fun time. That's a good call. But like we said with the Tiki Room, sometimes attractions are shut down because they are repurposed for queues, or sometimes just the popularity of that ride or the logistics that it takes to run that ride may not, warrant the staffing that is available, because they do have to divert staff to party activities.
Yeah, and it's mostly the shows that don't run. So things like Carousel of Progress, PhilharMagic, the Tiki Room, those types of things, they're either used for meet and greets or they're used for trick-or-treat locations.
Yes.
So it just really depends. And again, all of that stuff is on your map. So when you enter and go through that backstage area, you can get the party-specific map that will tell you what's open, what's not, those types of things. The best part about the attractions, though, is the overlays.
Yeah.
So there are a few rides, not enough rides in my opinion, but a
Agreed.
few rides that get some really great Halloween overlays. So the ones that are regular every single year, Space Mountain gets a spooky soundtrack and the lights are completely off. Completely. So like no moon, no stars, no nothing. Pitch black with a spooky soundtrack. Mad Tea Party gets spooky lighting and some spooky music, which is fun. And then the Monsters Inc. laugh floor gets the full Halloween treatment. Now, previously with that, it doesn't function like the standard show does because it also has served as a trick or treat location in the past. We'll have to again wait and see what they do this year. But what it's been before is you can go in and trick or treat, and then they will just have like constant running Halloween jokes up on the screen. So don't think of it as like the go and sit down show with Halloween jokes. It's a little bit different than that. But those are your three. Again, like Jess mentioned, Haunted Mansion has some fun things added to it. The lighting on Haunted Mansion gets a little spookier, some different colors and things. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So
It's that in and of itself truly like wait towards the end of your evening when it's really dark out and then go take a walk over to Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Not only is it really cool, but those characters are truly in full swing.
Yes. So that's super fun. A few years back, they also did some live performers in Pirates of the Caribbean. I keep hoping that maybe if we keep talking about it, they'll bring it back because that was super fun. So there are some other fun little hidden gems throughout the parks that some of them we may not know until the night of because they're never going to announce it. Some of them may not be on your map. So again, Disney Food Blog is a really great resource for that. Chip & Co., our affiliate sponsor here with our podcast, they're a really great resource for all of that. So do some quick Google searching. If you're going to the first night, just try to see everything as much as you can and good luck.
Good night and good luck.
Exactly. Yes. So that's kind of your overlay situation for the party.
So we just one more note on rides. We mentioned it a little bit earlier that the wisest way to use your time is to really hit those attractions that will not be open during the party. The other thing I'm gonna just step on you a little bit. The important thing to know is, and maybe this appeals to you, right? Maybe you don't want to ride Space Mountain in the pitch dark. Maybe that's not your vibe. Then you can go hit Space Mountain. We would recommend hitting it between like 6 and 7, right? When they're really starting to clear the guests, but the Halloween party has not started because much like mobile ordering for those special Halloween treats, it does not start until 7 o'clock. And they are pretty strict about it. So if you go ride it at like 6:30, you will still get your moon and stars. You're not gonna get your spooky time Space Mountain chiropractic adjustment, right? You're just gonna get your average your average chiropractic experience on Space Mountain.
Yes, yeah, that is important to note because if you are a fan of those attractions and you want that Halloween experience, unfortunately, you got to wait until 7. Now, you might be able to time it to where you get in line at like 6:45 and you get on pretty quickly with that overlay, but you definitely, again, need to do a little bit of planning, and it stinks because there is so much in these parties.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up here very shortly with Not So Scary. I'm going to talk about HHN, and it's the same way there. You really have to prioritize. You have to look at everything because all of it is so cool that you really have to pick what your priorities are. Are they characters? Are they rides? Are they food? Are they shows?
Yeah.
And you really have to kind of focus on one and plan the rest of your night accordingly.
Yes, agreed. This is definitely I think we've given this advice before where like you sort of have your big 3 things that you must do and then from there you rank your nice to haves, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the way that we have done that before and that is the way that we have successfully gotten through frankly most things at the party, but like we are also two childless adults, so we were able to speed through maybe more than a lot of the Mom Street audience, right? So
Right.
the probably what would be best, is to sort of, like Jackie said, prioritize, make your list of your must-dos, and then everything else that you can just get done on top of that is gravy. So
Yeah. And if you're like, I don't know what I must do, Boo to You parade, top of the list.
absolutely.
The not so scary spectacular fireworks.
Fireworks.
Second on your list. Third on your list could be either a character meet and greet or the stage show.
Yeah.
That would be the top 3 that if you're like, I'm overwhelmed,
Yes.
that's where I would start.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think that it makes total sense, because anytime we have conversations with friends or family who are interested in going to this, Booty U Parade is number one, what we always say.
Yep.
Line up early, see the horsemen, make sure that you experience that whole parade, because it is genuinely fantastic. And I pretty much agree with the rest of the rankings.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Look at that. We have the same opinion. Shocking.
Wow. Okay, but before we wrap with Not So Scary, we do need to talk about merch just briefly. So, Duck, what can you tell us about merch?
We could do a whole episode on merch, but
Really
to
fun.
keep it brief, to keep it clear, there is party exclusive merch. Every year, there is always party exclusive merch, be it pins, spirit jerseys, anything and everything that you can think of. There, if you can purchase an item, they have made a party exclusive of it. What is always especially popular, though, are if they have them popcorn buckets or the sippers. People, myself included, go bananas for them. Right? They are a hot, hot, hot commodity. So these are going to be exclusive to party guests. If it's a shirt that says Boo to You, if it's that year's themed design, if it is the Jack, is it a popcorn bucket this year?
So there are a couple, yes. Now, but you do have to double check, because some of the popcorn buckets are not exclusive. They're just Halloween themed.
Gotcha.
Some of them are exclusive to the party. So
Yes.
you need to really look. Again, Disney Parks blog is your best case for that. I'm not even going to try to explain what's where and who's where of that, because there is
certain ones are at certain stands.
Yes.
Yes.
So there is a Jack Skellington popcorn bucket where he's like sitting on a gravestone, and the gravestone is like the popcorn holder. The other popcorn bucket that I saw, I'm obsessed with, but it's not for the party. It's the Ghost Mickey. Have you seen it?
It's so cute.
I'm obsessed with it, and I need it desperately.
I'm like, it's
so
so
cute. Well, so that one's at Disney Springs.
Yes.
So again, you have to look and see, because like the Ghost Mickey one is there. The Jack one, I think, is the party exclusive one this year.
True.
And then they do have for sippers the Pluto in his skeleton outfit with holding his little trick or treat bucket in his mouth. And I don't remember. I think that one is. I don't remember if that one's party exclusive. That one might be everybody.
Yeah, that might be. That's what they've started doing, is they'll have like a Halloween themed item that's generally accessible to the public, and then they'll have the exclusives. These are gonna sell out. Everything, a lot of stuff sells out. Stuff sells out very quickly, unfortunately. It can sell out early in the night, it can sell out early in the parties, and they may restock. So by the time it comes to your party, they may not be available. So not to push anybody to purchase anything that like was not in your budget or whatever, but like if there's something that you absolutely have your heart set on, and that is your trip souvenir, grab it. Not that we have absolutely had instances both here and at HHN where we regret not grabbing something earlier in the night, and then by the time we go back, it is long gone. So
Limited edition. So like,
oh yes,
be mindful.
Pins. Yes, that's a good point. So pins are the best example of something that we can give, not only of something that's limited edition, so they will maybe only have so many a night, but some merch in some locations, they will start selling a touch early. Not like 4:00, right when you get in there.
Sometimes it is 4:00.
So for the t-shirts and stuff, like the less limited items, I've noticed that
they'll have
less strict.
So the way that the Emporium started doing it last year or the year before, I don't remember, is they have a section that they transform into the party section, and then they keep it roped off. and then you have to show a party ticket to gain entrance to that area to be able to purchase those items.
Okay, so I think
So
by the time we got in last year, then it must have just been open to
everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. So they will do that, but again, show proof of your party ticket to be able to gain entry to look at the merch. Now, I don't know if all of the merch was out during that open or that early open time. But I do know that I think it was just last year they started doing it that way because it was a little bit easier for them to push people through.
Yeah. It's a good idea. It allows people to get their shopping done earlier in the night. It's less congested at the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, for folks who just want something like a hat or a general pin or the shirt design or whatever it is that are far less limited, much easier to pick it up early on.
Yes. So the party specific, before we get
Yes.
too far away, the party specific popcorn bucket is the Jack Skellington one.
Okay.
And that is 2 per person per transaction, available while supplies last during Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Love that.
Now, keep in mind, in previous years recently, supply has been an issue. And like they didn't have popcorn buckets like the first party.
Yep.
You know, or things like that have happened. So again, some of that is out of everyone's control.
Yes.
The sipper, which I am now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, I knew that, is the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's like shoulders up with the tall hat, and his face is 2-sided, like it is in the movie. Again, limit to per transaction, and that is at Pecos Bill.
Yes.
So if you want the sipper, that's where that one is. The popcorn bucket is various popcorn carts. So
good luck.
Yeah, usually by the hub, sometimes into Tomorrowland or, you know, but usually by the hub is where you're gonna find
I was gonna say that's where we've had luck before with other popcorn buckets is the hub. That's usually the spot that gets them and gets the most.
Yeah, and the line will be very long. So if you find a relatively short line, jump in it.
Just don't even ask questions. Just pop right on it.
Yep, exactly. Okay, I think now that we've been here for over an hour, we've got through everything for Not So Scary Halloween Party. Maybe we should have made this 2 episodes. Oh, well, too late. Let's keep going.
You committed. Okay.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Yes,
okay, let's talk about now for something completely different.
Yeah.
Let's talk about HHN. So just a quick note before we jump into our full notes about HHN. If you want more about HHN and the events at Universal, we did talk about them in our whole series that we did for Universal. So episode 89 of Mom Street, if you scroll back into our archives, we talked more about HHN. So some of this we might kind of fly through, also because we've already been here for an hour and plus, because we did.
Thank you.
Yes, because we did just talk about it. So just keep that in mind. If you want more in depth, we did talk more about prices and different options and things like that for HHN.
All right, so moving on from the cute scary of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween to the straight up scary of Halloween Horror Nights. So a little disclaimer, the event does not necessarily have an age restriction, but there are 1,000,001 disclaimers all over Universal's website and everywhere saying that the event might not be recommended for kiddos under 13. So we have seen people bringing their younger kids into the event. So, I mean, you really just have to know your kids and know what they can tolerate and whatnot. Like I see a lot of people bringing kids in strollers because you could just kind of like pull the little shade down.
Wild. That is wild.
You know, so then they don't notice. But you know, really just like gauge your kids and you know, see what you think they would be okay with. But moving more into details of the event. So just like with Mickey's Not So Scary, this is a separately ticketed event. So this takes place only at Universal Studios. They tried it at Iowa and it didn't go well. Marvel was upset.
They didn't love the dead heroes. They were not thrilled. I don't suspect it will be going back to Iowa ever.
No. So this year, the event runs on select nights from August 29th to November 2nd. It mostly runs Wednesday through Sundays. There's a couple random other days in there, but that's basically the schedule.
A lot of Wednesday through, it's basically almost every week from now until Halloween weekend. It's Wednesday through Sunday. They run this event a lot.
Yeah, which is a little different from Mickey's, where I feel like it starts off like just a couple days a week and then it picks up. Like this is just, they go full swing into Halloween. So the event begins at 6:30 p.m. with the very, very fun opening ceremonies. So this is, they'll have all of the icons and characters from each scare zone and stuff come up to the front and do like a whole spooky stage show basically to open up the event, which is super cool. And they'll sacrifice a few people each night to like be the first to run in and run away from all the scare actors. It's very fun.
It sets the tone.
It does.
Is what I'll say.
It very much sets the tone for the event. Jackie's like, this does not sound like fun to me.
I remember the giant chainsaw sounds and people sprinting, and I'm like, that's chaos.
Yep.
It is. And it's great.
And I was going to say, and I feel like that is very much our vibes. You're like, why would anyone do that? And I'm like, I would love to be the sacrifice.
Volunteers tribute.
Yay, I'm a sacrifice.
So if you do want to get into the park earlier than that 6:30 start time, though, you can get the Scream Early Pass, which is an extra $55 a night all throughout the season. And so then that lets you get into the park at 3 p.m. So you get a couple of hours in the park, and then you get to, stay in after they close. So that you can be kind of right there at whatever house when they open.
I do just want to say that previously this was done where when you did the Scream Early, if you wanted to queue up for a house, there were corralling areas, right? As they were starting to clear the park of day guests and you had your wristband, you had to go to one of these holding areas. There was like 3 of them through the park, and you would pick whichever one was closest to the house, right? The strategy was, let me go to the house that I think is the one that I must see or is going to be the most popular. Let me knock that out right away. What they are doing this year is they are corralling Stay and Scream folks, or Scream Early folks into the queues of the houses. There has been no word as to whether they will start them a little bit early to get some of this moving. There's no information, right? Because in previous years, they kind of opened it a touch early for those Scream Earlies. Like, generally when the opening ceremonies started, which was a few minutes before 6:30, they would then open the queues for the houses and start running it to get things moving. There's no answers as to whether they're going to continue to honor that, whether it's just going to be right at 6:30 they're going to start it, or even a couple minutes after. There's no information, but that is a major change with how people are planning their HHN this year, because they are corralling you in the physical lines rather than large holding areas.
Well, I think they said, correct me if I'm wrong, it used to be 3 o'clock. I believe now it's 4 o'clock. So
Yes.
they pushed it back by an hour
Yes.
with that change.
That's correct.
And there was something about wristbands with it too.
Yes.
Yeah, so that
Right.
has always been true when you do this early, much like Disney. There are like designated areas. I actually don't know how, we haven't done Scream Early in a long time.
Mhm.
I don't know how they are doing the wristband distribution now. Once upon a time, it was when you were entering the park and you were showing that you had your Scream Early, they would give you the wristband at will call, or like at the front, there could be somebody handing out. Then for a while, I think they went to somewhat like Disney, where there was like other check-in areas. I have a feeling they'll just stick with the will call though, because that's just like the best way that they are equipped to deal with folks coming in, is that sort of front ticketing gate situation. So I have a feeling that they'll just stick with that for wristband distribution.
Yeah, that could be. And do keep in mind that if you want to see the opening ceremonies, you really can't do the Scream Early because you're not going to be able to see it from inside the queue. So again, decisions need to be made. You need to figure out what you want to do with that. But if you're okay just, watching it on YouTube for the ceremonies, then that's an option of what you can do. But just keep that in mind, that you're not going to be able to do the ceremonies and the Scream Early.
Yes. Good point.
Very good point. So prices for Horror Nights start at $85 per night for a single ticket, and it goes up to $126. So obviously, the closer you get to Halloween, the more expensive it's going to get, just like with Mickey's. So single night tickets are the cheapest during the week, and they're more expensive on Saturdays, especially Saturdays in October is the most expensive time to go. So as we talked about before, though, Universal loves to do There are a million different types of tickets.
It's so
for
stressful,
everything.
guys.
So many options, too many options.
We've been going for years, and sometimes I'm like, what is this
What is
ticket
that
type?
ticket?
What is
What does that
this?
mean?
What do I get with this?
So we'll keep it simple and go over some of like the most basic and most popular ticket options out there. So the single night tickets, obviously. So if you're just going once and that's it for the season, that would be your option. There are a couple different options if you want to go for multiple nights throughout the season. So those being Rush of Fear and Frequent Fear, depending on how many times you want to go. I think Frequent Fear has more nights included and Rush of Fear is fewer.
I think Rush of Fear is 18 and Frequent Fear is 30 or 40. I don't remember the number, but yeah, you're right. Rush of Fear is less than Frequent Fear.
And a lot of those are like weeknight dependent. Like, so like some of them will be like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and some of them will be Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, or, you know, those. Don't quote me on that. That's not exactly it, but you guys get the gist. So it's going to give you access on different nights throughout each week.
Yes. While HHN is obviously a huge draw for like everybody, we have met people from all over the world at this event. Like people specifically travel to Orlando for HHN.
Hi, it's us.
It is us. Yes, hello. Not necessarily all over the world, but from up the coast. It is also a huge, huge, huge thing with locals. So those like frequent passes are mostly aimed at pass holders who are available to go and hit a couple houses on a Wednesday night after work, or, you know, they're going to go have a drink, you know, at the Ghostbusters bar or whatever, and then they're going to go do a house and then they'll go home, right? Like that is more who those are aimed at. But it depending on how many nights you are staying and how interested you are in HHN, and if you want to pay for any of the upgrades like the VIP or whatever, those frequent passes may end up being worth it.
Yeah.
They are for this season sold out, I believe. Maybe Rush of Fear isn't, but so this is maybe planning for future vacations and future years, something to consider. Just weigh those price points and see if it makes sense for your vacation length and the number of nights that you want to go.
So then there are also the VIP tours or RIP tours, as they call them, for horror nights. So this-
I love it. And the
It's
first
so
time I
fun.
heard it, I'm like, that's adorable. My mom's like, that's horrifying.
So this is what Duck and I do every year when we go down. So there are two different options for this. There is the public tour, which is you purchase it and then you just get kind of thrown into a tour group with a bunch of random other people. And then there is the private tour, which is what we do. We get together with a group of friends. I think you need at least 10 to do it, between 10 and 12. And then it is just your group of people. And so for the public tour, you get a set, like you go to these houses at this time and then you go to the show and then you do this, so you can only kind of do everything once, and there's like a set order that they take you in. With the private tour, you get to kind of choose, so you get to tell your tour guide, I want to go here, I want to go there, I don't want to do the show, I want to do this house again. And you get exclusive food, not exclusive food, but you get free food and you get access to exclusive like kind of eating areas and seating areas.
And you get some cool behind the scenes
Yes,
tours.
you get behind the scenes tours or in ride queues, which is super fun. And then you also get front of the line access to all of the rides. So you get to basically go through the back entrance and show up and be like, hey, and get in. So it's the way to go if you really want to do all the houses and do the show and do everything, but you only have maybe a night that you can actually do it. If it can work out in your budget, I would definitely recommend doing it this way, because we've been doing it the last few years and I don't know that we will ever go back.
Nope. It is truly, I can't say enough good things about not only the experience, but the tour guides that Universal hires. They are
so good.
They're so good. They're friendly. They're knowledgeable. They're flexible. They really are. Every single tour guide that we've had, we have a different one every single year, and they've all been fantastic. And just seeing other tour guides like along the way, they're all also fantastic. So I really have to hand it to the Universal team members there. They do a great job with their VIP tours.
They give you like a backstory to the houses, to the scare zone. So even if you maybe don't know an IP or you're not sure of like the story that a certain area relates to, because a lot of things are kind of interconnected storylines, they will go into all of that for you and kind of catch you up. So it's a lot of fun and very worth it, I think, to do. So on top of the regular tickets, HHN does offer paid express passes to help you get, past those general standby queues because the lines for the houses can be multiple hours long. So the express passes do help, but these are only single use per house. So you could basically go through each house once. But even with those, you're not going to get to everything in one night because even with the express passes, queues can be pretty long. So maybe prioritize, which houses you really want to do and make sure you hit those first with your express pass and then go to, anything else you have time for after that.
I will say it is technically possible to get through every house in one night with no express and no VIP, but you have to be dedicated. And the general strategy is keep a very close eye on your app. And the second that you see wait times dropping, sprint to the
Yeah.
even if it's to the other side of the park, right? Like that is like you really. This is not for the faint of
There's
heart.
a lot of back and forth. They running around.
It really is.
If you're up for that, then go for it.
We've done it before. It's really difficult. I would never do it. Not at the age I am now. I would never do it again. But years ago, when we were younger and foolish, it's definitely possible, especially late at night, because HHN is usually open until like 2.
Mhm.
So it is like 1 to 2, depending on the night. But it is open super late, and a lot of people drop out before the end of the night. So if you can hang, you can get it all done. But if you are elderly like us, perhaps an investment of an express pass could be worth it.
It could be, just maybe.
So you guys typically go around opening weekend.
Yes.
What length do you typically see these lines for the houses? Because I have no concept of what a long line for these houses would be. So I know it changes based on what the house is, what the IP is year to year, but on average, what do you guys typically see around opening weekend for house waits?
I think it's very tough to give an answer because it depends on how hyped the house is.
Mhm.
Right.
Because sometimes then you can have everybody going right to that house, and that has a 3-hour long wait.
Right.
But then all the other
It's like
houses are
20 minutes.
right. So
Right.
it's a little hard to sort of even out across those experiences because those are outliers. But there are years where there are super hyped houses where they are number one. But we have regularly seen, I'm going to say an hour and a half to 2 hours
Okay.
opening weekend for waits, and we would consider those fairly long.
Okay.
Now, they do the thing that Disney does where it's slightly overestimated, but you do have to remember that there are times where house queues may be paused because those working in the houses themselves do need to be rotated out. So there are times where you might have a short 5-minute window where everything is paused because it is somebody's dinner time, right?
Right.
We got, I know we have, Jason Voorhees in the house, but Jason Voorhees got to go eat dinner. You know what I mean? So we need a little snack, a little water break. So,
Right. That
that is also a contributing factor. And that is also especially true as they are sort of working out the logistics of the houses opening weekends. Sometimes there might be a hiccup, something might need to be reset, something like that. So I would say generally most houses are between 45 minutes and an hour and 15 opening weekend. That's a general consensus. Longer wait houses hover around 2 hours opening weekend. And that's just for general admission, not even talking about any of the express passes or anything.
Yeah. Now, if you saw, let's say the house that you want to go to, that's one on your top 3, we talked about top 3 with Not So Scary. Let's say it's an hour wait. Is that worth an hour? In your guys' opinion, do you think an hour is a good wait?
No. I would
Okay.
say if it's
I'm just generally curious because I'm
Yeah.
I have no concept.
so
If it's a really popular house and something that's really hyped, and you might just have to wait an hour. That might
Yes.
be what it
That-
is.
that's
all
the
night,
lowest it's gonna get. Yes, I would say the way that we generally operate is that in previous years before we did the RIP tour, we would, if we saw a house had a wait of 45 minutes or under, we would just pop in the queue because generally that means it's about a half hour, right? All things considered,
Right.
roughly a half hour. At worst, it's 45 minutes. And so we have found that 45 minutes or under, pop in. If it's 20 minutes or under, do it twice. You know what I mean? You might not ever see it again at 20 minutes. So, if it's something that you desperately want to do, an hour is a good gauge of yes, I can go pop in line now.
Mhm. And we do have a really good question from Sarah over here in
Yeah.
the chat that I do want to touch on before we continue. How much does the express pass cut the wait? Is it similar to a lightning lane at Disney World?
I would say yes.
Mhm.
I would say that they also do the thing at Universal that Disney is sort of guilty of, where they prioritize the express lane.
Mhm.
So in theory, maybe your wait in the regular lane would be a half hour, but if there's a lot of people in express, because they do sell a lot of express passes, your wait could be 45 minutes to an hour, right? It can really go up because they do prioritize the express passes. I would say express passes can cut the wait in half for not the most popular lines, because people with express passes will also prioritize the most popular early on in the night because they want to get it out of the way, right? They think this is the quickest way. So it's sometimes possible that the express line is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour,
Yeah.
which would still be less than the 2-hour wait for the really popular line, but it is still going to be very long. So
Okay.
our general advice is, if you have the express pass, use that on like some of the medium weights earlier on in the night, and then wait for that super popular house towards the end of the night. That would be a good time to use that express pass, because like around 10 or 11, most people are starting to hit like some of their later houses, right? They're like, maybe I'll hit 2 more and go home. That would be a good time to, deploy your express pass usage to maximize your time cutting, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to say because the queues snake so dramatically,
Right.
and they really go far afield.
Yeah, they're
So
really in like backstage areas, these houses.
Yeah.
So you're like really going back there and sneaking through
yeah, so
to
like
get to the house.
even us like walking past, in anytime we've walked past anything, right? It's like hard to get a gauge on how long a wait may be, but yes, the long and the short of it is it's going to cut your wait time about in half from the standby time.
Okay. And those express passes, we should mention, are one use per house, correct?
Correct.
One and done.
There once upon a time was a time where they sold the multi pass, right? Like it was an unlimited express pass. They have since done away with it. I think last year or the year before they stopped selling them,
Yeah.
because it simply got too popular, and
Right.
people in these big houses were just doing them over and over and over again. So like express was waiting an hour and regular line was 3 hours, know? So it became untenable. So now, right,
Right.
what they're doing, and they also want to try to push people towards those RIP tours. So now what they're doing is that single use express pass. And I will also say the express passes also work on the rides.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested in riding the Mummy or Gringotts or any of the other attractions that are opened during during HHN, you can use those express passes also once per ride, once per night.
Perfect. All super helpful information, because a lot of us that are here, myself included, as you guys all know, we are very naive to the world of HHN. So super
That's
helpful.
why we're here.
We are going to press on the gas a little to keep pushing
Yes.
through this information. So let's continue on with our notes here, friends.
So we have now headed to the layout section, right? So we're going to talk about when you are physically in the park, what are you experiencing? What are you seeing? You're looking everywhere. You're seeing spooky things. What's going on, right? So once the event starts, so kind of similar to Mickey's Not So Scary, but a little more violent. There are props all throughout the park, right? Because large set pieces that are throughout the park that contribute to what's called scare zones, we'll talk about them in a second, have to stay up. They get covered mostly during the day, like the gory bits. So if you have kiddos, you do not have to worry about them seeing something untoward, right? Like that gets physically covered with a sheet during the day. So you are safe from the gore.
Mm-hmm.
But then once opening ceremonies hit, like once they are locked and loaded and ready to go, the whole park transforms into this very spooky domain, right? We have not only the houses in the scare zones, but we have fog everywhere. We have music piped all throughout the park, and there are like also like mood spotlights, for lack of a better term, right? Like on the MIB building, there's like cobwebs or like HHN highlighted on it, right?
Like
It's
this
just
year number that
Yeah.
has like 33, 34.
So like whatever, like everywhere you look, you are fully immersed in the spookiness of HHN. So I mentioned earlier, we've been talking about houses this whole time, but we never really like clarified what houses are or what scare zones are.
We should
So-
probably do that.
Yeah, that's probably fair for this conversation. So houses, if anybody has been patiently listening, waiting for us to explain what a house is, it's essentially a walkthrough attraction made up of different rooms that are telling a story of some sort, right? So the story could be based on an IP, an intellectual property. So it could be like this year we're having a Five Nights at Freddy's house, or we're having a Jason house, right? Like those things are existing properties, and they will weave a story around that. And you are going through like basically these large warehouses with different rooms that have setups that will weave the story of the movie or the show or whatever it is all together. Now these IPs can be like fun scary. Like we've had Ghostbusters houses before. I really like the Ghostbusters houses. Those are always very well done. We've also had like Stranger Things houses, or they can just be straight up scary, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Like they have done, or Terrifier this year, right? Like there is the whole gambit of houses where they're like fun scary and scary scary. Now, in addition to the IP houses, there are also original concept houses, which is exactly what you think of, right? So these are houses that the Universal creative team has come up with from start to finish. The story surrounding it, the layout, the costuming, the concept, this is all created by Universal has a dedicated HHN team that weaves these stories together and will build houses out of it. And oftentimes they are interwoven into, for lack of a better term, the lore of Halloween Horror Nights, right? So in previous years we've had there's this fictional town of Cary or Scary, Ohio, where like a lot of these stories have taken place. So
Not
for no reason at all, I'm mentioning Ohio.
Not Ohio.
No, Ohio. But like last year there was a house called Major Sweets, and that related to a scare zone, in which the scare zone was all these kids broke into this factory and were transformed into these terrifying candy monsters.
Oh, great.
That takes place, that's related to the Cary, Ohio location. And then last year we got the prequel to the scare zone. We got, how did those kids get involved with this candy monstrosity situation? What did Major Sweets do, right? So these can be woven throughout. Very often the icons will also play a part. We'll talk about what an icon is in just a second, but there are stories woven throughout. The one that we have this year is called Hatchet and Chains, the Demon Bounty Hunters, which was actually a poster. So it was like an original concept in a house last year called Slaughter Cinema 2. So the original houses very often are interconnected in very interesting ways.
Okay, shall we talk about scare zones?
I would love to talk about scare zones.
Of course you would.
Of course, they're my favorite. So, scare zones are zones of terror. No, they are sections of the park's walkway they have props, they have sets, they have scare actors who are all dressed up in theme to whatever that particular chunk of sidewalk has been designated, for lack of a better explanation, right? It is a chunk of walkway. It's actually like large swaths of area from point A to point B. It is themed to whatever that particular scare zone is, and then there's actors who are
free roaming
who are free roaming and gonna pop right out at you when you least expect
or
it.
follow you.
Or follow you. Like poor Jess had an
I
experience.
don't like that.
That's okay. So just like the houses, the scare zones can be based on IP. One year there was a Rob Zombie scare zone, and it was, to this day, my favorite scare zone. I was in love. It was so good. Jess was like pulling me out of there. No, I gotta take a picture with the car.
This was right after my very bad scare zone experience of being followed. So I was just very on about the scare zones that year. I was like, we need to just like get through these as quick as possible. And then of course there's a Rob Zombie one, and Duck just wants to spend the whole night there. So
I could have lived there. It was great.
Last year had that Zodiac one that was pretty cool. I thought that one was, because they had all of the different zodiac signs were represented somewhere, the characters, and it was kind of like
it was
like
fun
a
to figure out who
yeah.
was who, and
Mhm. That one was cool. I'll give them that.
I like that one. And you probably did not like this one, but I really liked Torture Fair, which was like a torture renaissance fair. It was, you probably just were gone after just that one left. I can send you pictures.
If I'm remembering correctly, the Zodiac one was pretty early in the.
Yes.
So I saw that one quite a few times, and then I think after that one I was like, bye.
So that one, the Zodiac one, was the one immediately to your right when you walk into the park down of Hollywood. Because they don't, although I think they might be putting a scare zone close to Minions. It's not right in front of Minions.
Also what I heard.
Might have some words.
Yeah, so it's not. So what they're doing, I think, is where they had Oddfellow, that's his name. I kept trying to think of it. So where they had Oddfellow last year, I think like across the way, like I think they're gonna scooch it down.
Okay.
So you walk into it, but it's still not in front of Illumination.
They're just pushing them.
They are
Pushing the boundary a little bit there. They got to make the most of the space they got.
They did.
I can't blame them.
And I have to say, it has been different ever since they stopped. What was that? Was it the arcade was the last year, that haunted arcade with the stilt walkers? That was I think the last year that they had anything in front of Illumination. And it is noticeably, not like it ruins the event, but it is noticeably different when you are looking straight down as you are in like what is supposed to be this intense, scary moment, and you see a minion. It's
Easy out of it just a little.
It's just, and then you look to your right, and then you see haunted zodiac signs, or some such, or like slimy zombies, and then I just look back, and it's like banana, like it's just very incongruous.
I love this. Okay, what else do we need to know about scare zones?
So, scare zones, like I said, it could be like Rob Zombie, it could be, there's been Zombieland ones, like it could be property, or they can be original. They are largely original for the last few years. I have a feeling they'll stick to the originals because that is like a much more freeing concept for them. They can get really creative with them. So the one that I'm extremely excited for this year is called the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, which sounds delightfully unhinged. I'm so excited. The description from Universal is, travel down a spooky winding path to a mysterious home where trick-or-treaters are transformed into feral felines. Be careful or you'll be next. And like, dude, that rocks. That's so camp. It's unbelievable. Like, I love like horror like that, right? Like, it's absurd, it's camp. Like, they did a vampire Woodstock one 2 years ago, Vamp 69.
I remember that.
Good. So like, I really like when they get, when the creative team can just like do whatever wild idea they come up with, it's like their time to shine. You know what I mean? Like, the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane? Yeah, bro, I'm in. Okay, so
let's talk about the icons.
So, icons. We vaguely mentioned it before, but icons are the star of HHN, I shall say. They don't have them every year, but when they do, a lot of HHN will be themed around them. Sometimes they're very clear icons, and Universal will say, this is this year's icon. Sometimes they're more subtle about it, where things will be themed around a concept, and maybe there's a recurring character, but they aren't necessarily the designated icon of that year, right? So, like Oddfellow is a good example. Like I mentioned him a little bit earlier, where a lot of things were woven around him and he reoccurred a lot throughout the park, but he was never designated like the official icon for that year. There have been years where there was the official icon, like the Pumpkin Lord, right? Like, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like a 10-foot tall guy in a pumpkin who's like, yes, go out and do my bidding. Like he's Rita Repulsa. Like, it's incredible. So it's like, every year it's a little bit different. Some years they have clear icons, sometimes they don't, but this year I don't know if we're going to get one. The rumor, and what I thought early on, was that we were going to get an icon called the Killustrator, which is originated in Singapore, Universal Singapore actually, because a lot of stuff this year was themed around like a gothic art gallery, right? Like a gothic collection that one might see in, like, I think they called it a gothic conservatory, right? So there is a house called El Artista. I think it's called a Spanish haunting. So like, we don't really know too many details other than it is some sort of like tortured artist vibe. So there's been a couple of other scare zones and allusions to like in their press releases that made me think that maybe we were getting Killustrator. But now with some of the IP announcements and how close we are to the date, I don't know that we're getting him this year. But that's okay because little Boo, the perfect pumpkin boy, will always be the icon that we care about.
He will.
You mean they don't want to mix the Killustrator and WWE wrestling?
I know that sounds crazy because the Killustrator sounds like a wrestler.
It does.
It
really
sounds perfectly poised, actually, right?
Yep.
Because like you can make the argument that wrestling is art. It's theater with
Absolutely.
muscles. So there's
Absolutely.
that. There's a lot of things that you could make the argument for, especially like the scare zones. But like I just don't think we're getting an icon this year, which is sad because I really think even when they're cheesy, I really like the icons. I think it just like again like I love camp scariness, so like I was a big fan of. I'm always a big fan of the icons.
Yeah, and I think it's nice when Universal puts in that extra effort, right? They already do a ton for HHN, but when they put in that little extra effort to have that common thread that is through a lot of the whether it's scare zones and houses or areas or those types of things, it gives more meaning to it,
Agreed.
and it's not just
A
and please,
collection
please,
of scary things.
I was saying, please don't take this the wrong way. It's not just like silly little haunted houses because it's not. Like
No.
it's absolutely not. But it could definitely appear that way to someone on the outside that doesn't realize all these stories that they have interwoven. I didn't until I started following some content creators that covered HHN, and I was like, oh wow, they have a lot of like history and storyline behind this. That's really impressive. Like the years where a lot of the houses coordinated together. I was actually more interested in like, oh, I'd love to hear the story of how they all interconnect. Like, I still don't want to go, but I think the story is really cool.
Yeah, but it's
And I appreciate the time and effort that they put into connecting all of those dots together.
I'm always excited for the IP houses, but what makes me more excited is like the interconnected lore of the original houses and the scare zones and when they can execute those things together.
It's like going to a murder mystery party with a good storyline and a good host versus going to a murder mystery that has zero connectivity and plot and you can't figure out who did it.
Yes. That's actually an extremely good way to put it. Yes. Yes.
So it's like, yes, they're both enjoyable and you're probably still going to have a good time. You're going to have way more fun, in my personal opinion, when it all interconnects and you can find those Easter eggs and find the dots to connect and go, oh, that's super cool. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I get it. Haha. Those types of reactions.
And I like it when it rewards you for feeling like you found something. You know what I mean? Like we're putting something together before maybe you have all the pieces, right? Like Oddfellows year, he showed up in houses, but then also Jack, who is like the most famous icon, he's the scary clown that you see all the time with HHN stuff. He makes Oddfellow, so like to see him make the appearance in Oddfellow's house just in a shadow form was really cool because it was like that extra piece of lore, that extra piece of interconnectedness for those who cared to understand it. So it's nice when you're a fan and you're like rewarded with that sort of interconnectedness. I understand it can't be done every year and it can't always be executed perfectly, but the years where it is present, they are noticeably more enjoyable for me personally.
Yeah. And all that being said, we do understand and we give a little bit of grace to Universal this year because they just opened a brand new theme park.
100%.
So some of their resources were a little bit thin and a little bit busy. I am still confident that they're going to pull off a great HHN. It's just we may not have that interconnectivity this year due to people being pulled in 4 different directions.
Agreed. Yeah. And that is completely fair. And here's the thing, even the years where it's like not that interconnected or I'm just like, I don't know what the story is, it still rocks. I'm still going to HHN. It's still awesome. I still know what I'm going for, like we can talk about all the lore and the intellectual portions of it and that adds something to it, but like, man, it still rocks. I'm so excited for Five Nights at Freddy's, dude. Yeah. I'm so excited. So
I can tell. I love that for you.
Hype. Okay, we're gonna be here for 1,000 years.
We are. It's okay. I've just admitted defeat. But let's continue. Shall we talk about some food?
Yes. My other favorite topic, food. I love HHN food. So there are tons and tons of exclusive treats. As you walk throughout Universal Studios, you will see lots and lots of additional food booths that are only open during the event, and they are serving exclusive food. So the booths are usually set up inspired by the houses, right? Like almost every year, pretty much every house gets a food booth.
Yeah.
Even the original ones, like that's pretty common. Maybe not every single one, but most of them get some sort of food representation.
Mhm.
Remember the Triplets of Terror? That was weird that they got a food booth.
They had like a weird cake pop
It was
situation.
upsetting. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack. It just dawned on me like what a weird
Yeah.
food situation it was. Anyway, so there are some exclusive snacks in the tribute store. We'll talk more about the tribute store in a second, but some of the exclusive treats may live in there, but largely they are out in these food booths. We don't have the exclusives yet. Maybe when you are in the not so distant future listening to this, you had that list, but some of our favorites from last year were the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man s'more. Oh my god.
And so cute.
It was so cute. It broke my heart
that eated it. Yeah.
but it was so good and so worth it. I'm so sorry, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You were delicious. So there was that one. And then, oh yeah, the Slaughter Cinema 2 had like a walking taco. Like it was like,
Like a bag of Doritos that they just
Like
put a
taco
bunch
stuff.
of taco ingredients in. Yeah.
it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
It's taco stuff on Doritos.
Right.
But mostly they are themed around whatever you may be finding in that particular house, right? So like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man makes complete sense. There was like a drink last year called Garaka's Icy Breath, which was themed around Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Mhm.
So it was like Garaka is the big bad in that movie, and so like he had his own themed drink, right? So like food, drink, lots of alcoholic drinks if you are somebody who partakes in alcohol. We mentioned it in our previous episode, but there are also non-alcoholic versions of most of these. So for every themed alcoholic drink, there is usually a themed non-alcoholic drink to go with it. So if you are not of age or you are just not somebody who partakes in alcohol, there's plenty of options for you.
Now, be warned, there is some stunt food at HHN where it's like a green hot dog or
the corn dog.
With like wasn't it like minty too?
It was like a mint Korean
weird.
corn dog.
read your descriptions on the menu.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
a little out
warning.
there.
Yeah, just some of it is a little questionable. So if it sounds good to you, have at it. But be sure to read the full description before you order.
Understand what you're getting into. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Shall we talk
And
about
it's
some
theme park
shows?
food, so hit or miss.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Also, that was theme park food. Yes. Okay. Talk about shows
Shows.
because there's some good ones.
Yes. So there is Nightmare Fuel is the show of HHN. This is the big headline. People who love the show are hardcore dedicated to it. So it is essentially an acrobatic pyrotechnics show is the easiest way to explain it, right? There is a heavy metal soundtrack that goes with it, and it is like a metal Cirque du Soleil is probably the best way to explain it. It is incredibly impressive.
Mhm.
These people do things that I get winded going upstairs, and they are doing flips through flaming hula hoops.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
But every year there's like a slightly different iteration, and they are usually interconnected in some way, shape, or form, right? Maybe there's callbacks to previous years. Maybe it's like an interconnected storyline. But you do not have to have seen the previous years to understand what is going on in the current year. It's more just like if you are dedicated and hardcore fan and you come back, you'll see the little references and nods. Oh, really quick, one thing for Nightmare Fuel before we move on. Nightmare Fuel can get very warm. If you are a human, like I personally am, that gets uncomfortable with like being in the middle of warm crowds, like I get a little claustrophobic, you can still enjoy Nightmare Fuel, don't get me wrong, but it is wisest for you to plan to get there fairly early. There's several showings throughout the night. I think it's 9, 11, and midnight maybe. We would have to double check. But please check on the app because there are times where performances are canceled, right? for, safety concerns or what have you. But there's several throughout the night, and it is wisest, if this is important to you, to get there early so you can get your preferred seat and not, be too uncomfortable, because it's a large stadium with a lot of people in Florida heat, and then you add in the whole show is pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
It gets very warm in there.
Anna is also suggesting in our chat over here, it's very loud too.
Yes.
So you may, if you are someone that is sensitive to loud noises, you may want to pack those earplugs.
Yes.
And I believe that that's true about a lot of the houses as well, can be loud. So I've heard from a lot of people who have gone that earplugs are probably a very good idea.
Yeah. I think we mentioned it in the last episode, but I actually almost stopped going to HHN because I was so overwhelmed. I was so unhappy. Like, I have some sensory processing issues, and it was like far too overwhelming. And then when Jess was like, well, why don't we try one more year with earplugs? I'm never going back. It has been so enjoyable, and I love it, and I have a great time because I can still get the fun and the fear, but I'm not overwhelmed all the time. So
Yes.
that is absolutely true. Earplugs are 100%, for me personally, a must, because not only do the shows get loud, but the houses can get loud, right? There's lots of music piped into some of them, and lots of effects and things going on. So if that is a concern of yours, it does not diminish the enjoyment at all. 100%. Do whatever you have to do to make this a comfortable experience. I love, love, love my earplugs.
Yeah.
They are my best friends at HHN.
But then I don't need them and I'm fine, right? So like it's just personal preference, whatever you need to feel comfortable and, get through the houses.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, tell us about this new but not new, returning show that's coming back.
So there is, this year, for the first time since 2022, the Lagoon Show is making a return. So we do not know a ton, but what we do know is that there will be projections on the water, right? So there is like a fountain that will shoot up at strategic times, and there will be projections on that shooting up water, right? Think about like,
What's the one that they do in Disneyland? The color.
oh yes,
World of Color.
World of Color,
Like
that's it.
Phantasmic has
Yeah.
projections on the water.
That, right. That's an excellent comparison. So they have that and a spooky, immersive soundtrack. That is what we know. That is what we know.
That's not a whole lot, but sure, we'll go for it.
That's all that we have
Enough to
confirmed.
hype up Duck.
Listen, you could just tell me that there is anything happening at HHN, and I'd be like, I'm there. Let's go.
Now, this has been gone for a few years, right?
It has been. So it's unclear if... So the description is, a ghost story is rising from the watery grave to haunt Universal Studios Lagoon, featuring towering water screens and eerie music. So the rising from its watery grave leads me to believe it may be somewhat connected to the previous Lagoon shows. It's not clear what exactly they're going to do. Some of the Lagoon shows years ago were sort of like a mashup of classic Universal monster clips with some spooky music. They didn't necessarily have a show to it. I believe the show that they were running right before this got shut down did have a little bit more of a ghost story element to it. So it sounds to me like that is what they're going with, like a more interconnected story, especially since Universal Monsters have kind of been migrated over to Epic. The description has me suspicious that they're going to kind of pick up where they left off. So we mentioned it earlier that there are some rides, just like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, there are some rides that are open throughout HHN. There's a handful of them. It's not very many. It's every year Revenge of the Mummy is open, which is just fave, must ride. I also love. This year, what's new that's open is Transformers. Transformers had not been open before. Men in Black is always open, and man, that is just a killer burst of air conditioning. I love it. And then Escape from Gringotts, that's also open. Now, the lines for these are almost non-existent during HHN because everybody is busy getting the pants scared off of them in the houses. So
Yeah, it's a good time to get some rides in.
yeah, so if you were like, I really wanted to ride Revenge of the Mummy, but it was like a 2-hour wait earlier in the day and you're attending HHN, just wait. It's never more than 15 minutes during HHN. It's crazy quick, so totally worth it. Now, this may shock you, but there are a handful of character, I'm going to call them meets in quotes, like heavy quotes, because it's it's not like you're gonna run up to the punk skeleton girl and give her a hug like you would for
Why sign your not? Maybe she needed a hug.
Here's the thing, I actually think that's true. But that's neither here nor there. But however, you would then be thrown into the lagoon and become part of the show. That's what would happen. You are the
Not
ghost in
cool.
the show.
Don't do that.
No. So, they introduced this last year for the first time. There were like these 4 pedestals that characters from different houses, as well as like, I'm gonna call her somewhat of an icon. If you guys have seen like last year's like punk rock aesthetic, they had like a punk rock skeleton girl, they had a punk rock skeleton boy, they had a goblin from the Feast of the Goblins house. They have like different characters from the original houses, as well as like some icon adjacent characters, and they were on pedestals, and you could just like walk up and watch them kind of like dance around and interact, and you could take pictures with them. So I don't know who they are going to have this year. I suspect it will be back. I don't know that we've heard officially one way or the other. I haven't seen anything about it, even through like my quick cursory glances, but it was pretty popular last year.
It was cool because you could just kind of walk up and like get a photo with them being all spooky or whatever. Just kind of like have a cool interaction. Like it was fun.
So
Yeah.
more akin to like what we see at Oogie Boogie Bash on their treat trail, where they have the characters like they're a little bit removed from you. You can't just walk right up to them, but they will still 1,000% interact with you and have those moments with you.
So it is a little bit of a hybrid because they are physically up on a pedestal.
They're more up close.
So you cannot grab them, but you can still get like this close, right? Like you can get very close and take a photo with them, but you can't touch them. Please do not touch team members. Don't do it.
Yeah. They don't touch you and you don't touch them. That's the rule.
That's it. We have a healthy mutual understanding space. So like
Respect, please.
Exactly.
All of the team members, cast members, anyone in these theme parks.
They all work very, very hard to make your experience enjoyable. Let us respect them.
Yes.
But yeah, so with these, they are not they call them meet and greets because you can get close, you can kind of interact with them and have a fun moment, but they are not like on the ground for you to hug, right? So it's sort of like a hybrid. You can get close, but you can't like no touching, you know what I mean? So no touchy. So yeah, so I expect that they will be back this year. They were really cool last year. They were very popular. So I expect that they'll do something similar this year.
Yeah. Nice. All right, shall we talk merch now?
Everyone's favorite
is where
topic.
I spend all of my savings.
Yep. So there is obviously an abundance of merch at HHN. Any opportunity the theme parks have to slap a brand on something and sell it, they will. So there are plenty of things.
And it works on
me. And there's especially for the IP houses. I mean, even I feel like we were talking with our friends and they were like, oh, like I like to wait and like see the houses and whatever before buying stuff. Like if it's an IP, like you're probably going to buy it because you like the IP and you want the shirt that shows that you like the house, whether you like the house or not. Right. So they have a lot of IP themed merch. But then there are, also things that are themed, just like general HHN themed shirts and, different things. And, it's on everything. Shirts, pins, sweatshirts, hats, candles, notebooks, like literally anything that you could think of.
I actually give them credit because their candles usually smell pretty good. They're pretty good candles.
They are.
There you go.
And they have that fancy wooden wick, so you feel like you're in a fireplace. It's very fun. Not in a fireplace, in front of a fireplace. Oh, God. Please don't be in a fireplace.
Yeah, no, please.
Oh boy, we've been talking for too long.
We are hours. We're
so
almost done. So close.
Hang tight, friends. We're almost there.
So some of the merch is inspired by like the different elements of HHN. So for example, Mel's Die-In, which is a spooky twist on Mel's Drive-In, which is one of their food locations. So they've done merch inspired by that the last couple of years. There's always merch inspired by Lil Boo, which is one of their icons. He's kind of just like an ever-present icon of HHN.
The cutest little pumpkin head dude.
Things are little pop.
If you're watching it now, Duck is holding a popcorn bucket that is the head of Lil Boo.
He's just a little guy.
He's just a little pumpkin jack-o'-lantern head, but
If you don't know what Laylee is, first off, I feel sorry for you. But second, he glows.
Oh, that's so fun.
I love him.
He's
Okay.
so fun.
Sorry.
So,
Serious time.
He's always, a staple of the merch.
Oh, wait. I forgot. I'm so sorry.
There's a projection.
ADD moment. It's hard to see, but he projects his face.
Oh my gosh.
In 2024. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Right?
He's adorable.
Did you see the backpack this year?
Yes.
Jackie.
I'm going to black out and buy it. It's not okay. He's so cute.
So cute.
I hope they made enough because I'm buying them all.
So cute.
And they had a shoulder plush of him last year that my biggest regret is that it was sold out and I couldn't get one. So like very much in the vein of Disney, lots of merch for different things. But like there is definitely like a big like fan culture surrounding HHN. So some of the like fan kind of like jokes and things and like whatever do get worked into the merch sometimes too, which I think is fun. Like they're very much like, okay, we see what the fans like and we're gonna give you what you want, basically. And then also like Disney, there's pass holder exclusive merch and things like that. So if you are somebody with, an annual pass to Universal, there's some really cool exclusive merch that you can get there. So the Tribute Store, which we mentioned a little bit earlier, is really the place to get all of this merch for HHN. So this is a store in Universal. It's kind of in that corner of like New York area by the Jimmy Fallon ride.
The scariest thing in
The scariest thing. Scarier than any house. But so they kind of transform that for every season, every exclusive event happening. If there's a certain like movie or property that they're highlighting for an anniversary, whatever, right? So they'll make over that store for that. So each year they kind of pick a theme for HHN that they will kind of gear the store to. One year it was like an investigative kind of thing with like there was like a Jack the Ripper element, wasn't there, or something? So like they'll kind of pick a story and pick a theme, and as you're exploring the different rooms of the tribute store, you're kind of finding out about this story, but also shopping for merch, which is fun.
I will say the storylines in the tribute store are fascinating, and you could spend an hour alone in the tribute store trying to look at all the little clues and figure it out, right? Like I think it was last year's I had like that detective element and there was like little QR codes. Now please do not scan random QR codes out in public. I work in IT for your own security and safety. Don't scan random QR codes. However, in the tribute store, there were random QR codes that I was scanning.
And it gave you little pieces of the storyline, which is super cool. It was super interactive. It's super fun.
That is
there's even like a fun part where like if you're a pass holder, you can have yourself kind of featured in the tribute store. I know one year you could kind of like get yourself photoshopped into like an old timey kind of photo kind of thing. So like there's fun opportunities like that too. So then if you are a pass holder that's submitted to like be part of this, you can go and see it. So even if you're not interested in buying the merchandise, the tribute store is still a fun experience, like, and part of HHN to just see. And there is also the room like we said, they sell different treats and sweets. So it's mostly like candy and baked goods kind of things that they have, but some of it is, themed to some of the houses and things like that. So it is stuff that is exclusive to Halloween Horror Nights. So if you're interested in trying any of that, you can do that there as well.
So I think with that information, that brings us to the end, unfortunately, much to Duck and Jess's dismay, to our HHN not so fast information here now that we've been here for several hours, but that's okay. Hope that was helpful. Before we kind of completely wrap this episode, I do just want to run down 2 quick honorable mentions. If you are in the greater Orlando and all the way over to the west coast of Florida area during haunt season, 2 Howl-O-Scream honorable mentions that I just want to give brief information about. Just brief, I promise. The first one being Howl-O-Scream at Busch Gardens, Tampa. So now this is quite a drive from the Orlando area. So this is like if you have a rental car or something along the lines, if you've got a car that you can drive yourself. I do not necessarily suggest Ubering over there because that's going to be a pretty hefty Uber
Very expensive
fee. But Busch Gardens Tampa does have their own Howl-O-Scream event. This event is most similar to HHN with their haunted houses and scare zones being featured in that. Now this one doesn't rotate as frequently. Neither of the 2 that we're going to talk about do, where like HHN changes things out completely year to year. These ones have a lot of things that will stick around year to year, and they'll kind of do like a revamp every so often just because it's a little bit smaller scale. Their event does run September 5th through November 2nd of 2025 this year. Tickets start as low as $34.99, which is very affordable. Yeah. Yeah. But again, you're getting a different level.
The scale is different.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes. So keep that in mind. The houses that they have are the Mars house, like capital M, capital A, capital R, like it's an acronym, you get it. D.H. Bagham's Circus of Fear, Shadows of Wonderland. That sounds mysteriously like it might imply some Disney IP there. And
only based on the book.
yes, exactly. Yes, there's no IP thievery happening from from Busch Gardens. And then Stranglewood Estate. And again, those are all original IP to what Busch Gardens has created. And then their scare zones are Ragnar's Wrath and Sawgrass Slaughter, Legend of the Skunk Ape.
That makes me
Interesting.
specifically happy because the skunk ape is a cryptid, and anything to do with cryptids, I'm all about. So, like, Busch Gardens Tampa, you are crushing. I don't need to know anything else, but you feature a cryptid, and I'm sold.
Okay, at Howl-O-Scream, they also do have exclusive foods, drinks, merch, all that type of stuff. Again, we're not getting into detail, just a quick honorable mention. And basically all of their attractions are open during their event, which is really nice. Very few are closed. So they do have quite a lot of coasters and some good stuff over there at Busch Gardens. So if that sounds appealing to you and you have a way to get there without spending an arm and a leg, that's a great option. Second honorable mention that we'll just mention briefly is also Howl-O-Scream. Don't get confused. They're two different events at two different locations. This one is at SeaWorld Orlando. This is much closer to home when we're talking about Universal Disney. SeaWorld is just up the road, not too far.
This is an Uber drive. This
Yes.
is not this.
Yes.
I don't have to have a rental car. Terrible rental car. SeaWorld Uber. That's okay.
Yes. Yes, you can absolutely Uber there or whatever your mode of transportation that you prefer is. Their event runs September 5th through November 1st. And again, their tickets start as low as $34.99. Now, I will mention for both of these, their ticket prices are what's the word I'm looking for? Variable. That's the word I was looking for. Their ticket prices are variable and they do depend on day of the week. And the closer you get to Halloween, the more expensive they get. Again, that should sound familiar. We've talked about that. The specifics of the event itself vary from park to park, but SeaWorld Orlando promises a park-wide scare zone with no respite from the thrills and haunts. And that was literally copied and pasted from their website.
I never heard you say the word respite before.
No.
Yes, I do.
Leveling up my vocabulary, Tuss.
Listen, no tea, no shade. I fully believe that you would use the word. I just don't hear it in your regular everyday cadence.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So just in the description in this very moment, I don't think that would be your first choice of words. That's all that I'm saying. You're very intelligent. I'm being so sincere.
Thank you. You're not wrong. Okay. They also, the established Howl-O-Scream locations, and I will mention that some of this verbiage is worded the way it is because there are several locations across the country that do Howl-O-Scream. But the established ones, which Orlando is one of those, typically feature anywhere from 5 to 10 houses and 3 to 5 scare zones. So again, it really just depends. It should be noted that costumes are not permitted at Howl-O-Scream. So that is a big difference between what we've talked about with Not So Scary and HHN. Although we didn't really touch on costumes for HHN.
HHN also does not allow any kind of costumes. They sell like fun light up devil horns and stuff that you can buy in the parks, but you can't come dressed in any costume so that you're not like confused with a scare actor.
So no costumes, Howl-O-Scream or HHN for that matter. The houses that they have at Howl-O-Scream in Orlando are Widow's Nest, Raveyard, Collector's Curse, Farm 51, and Water's Edge Wellness Center. So use your imagination to decide what you think those are about or do some research if those sound interesting to you. And the scare zones that they have are Woodrot Hollow, Cannibal Harbor, and the Bloodlight District.
Well, now, hold on. Well, now. I have things that I would like to say, but I do not think are appropriate for this podcast. There are preschool toys present. I will save my comments for another day.
It's me. I'm a preschool toy.
Words I'm looking for can't be said because there are preschool toys present.
Yeah. So that's the name of their stuff. Again, they also have themed bars, food, drinks, shows, etc., all of that. They have a significantly smaller list of attractions that are open, but SeaWorld just has a smaller list of attractions than Busch Gardens does. So the newest coaster that they have, or their pipeline, is open. Icebreaker is open, Mako, and Infinity Falls. So if one of those rides are something that are on your list, maybe you could utilize Howl-O-Scream to get on them. So again, just honorable mentions with both of those Howl-O-Scream events. They are still really great haunt events that are happening in the greater Orlando and Tampa area, depending on if you can get there. So just wanted to make sure we mentioned those if you are someone looking for all of your haunt options in the Florida theme parks.
We also just want to take a moment to promote local haunts because it's really important to support local businesses. We all feel very strongly about it. And some of the best scares that I've had didn't come from HHN. They came from local haunts. They came from local events put on by like very dedicated people who like truly just do it for the love of the game. You know what I mean? Like they'll put it together on a shoestring budget and it's unbelievable what people can come up with. And so haunted trails, haunted hay rides, just look up in your area like haunted attractions, especially, come September. And yeah, so like of course these are all very fun and large scale, but it's also important to make sure that you are participating in local spooky time too.
Absolutely. And I know our good friends Kirk and Lem frequent the Sir Henry's Haunt, which is also in the greater Orlando-ish area. So that's another more small town, local kind of place. If you're looking for something in the Orlando area, but you're not familiar with the Orlando area, that would be a good place to start. I know that they have had very good experiences there as well.
Yeah, we've heard nothing but great things. We consider it every year, and then just the timing doesn't work out. So maybe this year or next year, maybe we'll pull the trigger.
Yes, and it can be tricky, right? To plan all of these things in a trip and get everything in that you want to do. So the nice thing is if you're somewhat local, or if you're able to, if your schedule allows, almost all of these events run either August through October or September and October. So you've got, maybe you can plan a Labor Day trip and then a trip later in October and spread them out a little and do 2 short trips or one longer trip. It's hard. It's hard, especially for holiday type things, whether it's Halloween, whether it's Christmas, whatever your vibe is. It can be hard to get it all in. So again, with all of these events, with the events in general, prioritize, look into them. If something that I mentioned about the Howl-O-Scream event sounds more like something you want to do, then look into that and see. Those events. Also, I didn't specifically mention age ranges for those events, but those events are they're similar to that HHN kind of age range. Some of their like scare zones and stuff are not quite as intense at those. So if you've got some bubble kiddos that are maybe like, oh, they might be okay, or like, I really think they could be okay, maybe going to a Howl-O-Scream event with them first might be a good idea. If you really think they're ready. Because don't get me wrong, you're still going to get scared and it's still going to be spooky, but it's not quite to the level of HHN just because the resources aren't there for those theme parks flat out. That's just the
fewer
reason.
actors and things like that make it a little bit easier to get a break from it if you're not looking to be super scared.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. Before we talk about what's coming next, do you guys have any final thoughts on spooky time? I think we kind of just summed it up pretty nicely.
Yeah. I think we did it.
Yeah.
I think we did it.
Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Stay spooky.
It's the best time of the year at the theme park.
Yes.
So
Be kind to everybody, especially those who are working your haunts. Support local. Stay spooky. Have fun. That's it. That's what we got for you.
I love that. Well, briefly before we sign off officially, I do just want to mention what is upcoming next on Mom Street USA now that we finished this multiple hour marathon on
Remember when we were like, yeah, we'll go through this quickly?
no.
We tried real hard.
We sure did. We had fun doing it. We did.
The app.
We're yappers. We're yappers.
Yeah.
There's no
It-
shame.
Yep. Yep. That's, that might be why we do a podcast.
Who can say?
Oh, anyway, what is coming up next on our podcast is a episode for Mom Street on Disney tech tips. So something literally completely different. And then next week, I'm going to be chatting about using the Disney app and hacks for parents that need to use it. So that is what is coming up next. Again, literally something completely different. But that's the lovely thing about Mom Street is that you get a little bit of everything and we hop around. That being said, if you've got an idea for a future episode that you're like, ooh, I really wish Mom Street would help do research on this or talk about this or give input on this, please reach out and let us know. You can always send us an email. We are momstreetusa@gmail.com, or you can always send us a DM on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those good places. We are at Mom Street USA on those as well. If you haven't followed our YouTube, please hop over there and give us a follow. We are working hard and diligently to continue to grow our reach to help more families with their trips. We're not in this to make a ton of money. We literally make nothing.
You're not?
No, we're not. I'm so sorry to break it to you, Doc.
Oh, man.
So sorry. We are literally here just to help and to make sure that you guys have the information you need to have really great trips and not make the same mistakes that we made. Circling it back to what we talked about earlier tonight, right?
Yep.
We want to help you guys with our experiences and help you guys be able to have really fun, magical, special, memorable trips. So any way that we can serve our community, that's what we're here to do, but we want to greater that reach. So if you guys are following us, be sure to spread that love across all of our platforms and do a quick share to somebody who you think might enjoy our content, because you never know when somebody might need it. Okay, I think that's it. I think we are done. I think it is time for bed because it is very late as we are recording the final episode, or the final thoughts on this episode. Thank you so much, Duck and Jess, for your expertise when it comes to HHN and sharing all of your knowledge with us. Been super enlightening for me and for everybody else involved. And thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you next time on Mom Street USA.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.